are now listening to the Fantasy Standard podcast on Talkdown TV with P and Ryan.
Welcome to the Fantasy Standard podcast on Talkdown TV. This is P. If you're watching, it means you're on YouTube, and we kindly ask that you drop a like and hit that subscribe button. If you're listening, it means you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audio Boom, and all other podcast platforms. We also kindly ask that you hit that follow button and leave a review. Joining us today from the Lights Out League, championship contender, artist, formerly known as Kenny, the most disrespectful, respectful person you'll ever meet. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Pootie Tang.
Yo, finally, you know what I'm saying? I got to be on the podcast. Happy to be here. Can't wait to win this, man. That's all I'm going to say.
Ooh, confidence. I like that. We like that on the pod.
Man, you know. But, yo, I'm happy to be here on Drink Champs. You know what I'm saying? Cheers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So before I get into something, I wanted to ask you, because you specifically wanted to be a guest on week 14. I remember like asking people on the chat, and I wanted to slot you in way before. I think after we had that conversation with all of us, I was like, yo, I got to get Pootie on.
Yeah.
And you were like, nah, get me on in week 14. Why did you do that?
I mean, at that point, I really felt like I was going to be here. I really felt like I was going to be in the playoffs at the rate that I was sort of winning at. I thought I was going to be here. So few different things happened in those late games. I knew I had to face Mike and Ryan at the end of the year. Oof. That's a tough schedule. I had to play them 4 times, right? Wow. So I knew I had to beat Nelson that week to get that 7th win. And that was going to give me the best opportunity coming down to the last week. But I wanted to be on the show week 14 because, I mean, it means more to me to be on the show at this point, right? In the playoffs, especially since I had that bulletin board material that I posted in the chat earlier. Ryan's playoffs probability. I actually, you know, I'm saying I kept that, right?
Did you really?
Yeah, I kept that shit. I was like, where, Ryan? You gonna slot me down there in the bottom quartile, bitch? All right, cool. So, you know, I wanted to make the playoffs, and I thought it was a good time to be on the show.
Nice. No, and thank you for coming on. I shout you out a lot for helping keep this show going, and I really do appreciate that. This show has helped me in terms of, you know, you always want to get better at your craft. And this is something that I like doing. You've always known I've loved creating. And I was like, how can I do this? How can I get some practice in and involve people that, like, you know, I really care about? Because this league, it means a lot to us. So,
yeah, I was actually thinking about that earlier today. I'm like, yo, our, you know, recreational, even though we bet on it, our recreational fantasy football league has a podcast. You know what I'm saying? It has a podcast show dedicated to what's happening in that league. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, like, we started watching the league, the show.
Oh, I love that.
You know what I'm saying? And that was like a sort of, even though it was a show, it was a representation of what happens in a fantasy football league in real life, right?
Absolutely.
And they take certain things to an extreme to make it funny, but I mean, this is not on that level, but it's similar, right? Because really what you're doing is you're reviewing what happened the prior weeks and, you know, some of the nonsense that's happening on the side that may impact that. So it's cool to have your own sort of podcast. And that's why I thought when you guys were contemplating not doing it, that, damn, that was going to be kind of painful because it was starting to be a good thing. And now that you've continued it, I think it's going to, you know, continue to be a good thing.
Yeah. And all of us as a group, we're able to now think about this in the off season. How do we want our show to look? How, you know, what feedback can you pass along? Because this is for all of us, right? Not only am I selfishly learning how to hone my craft, you know, I'm involving you all, and this is only better for our league. I think I've never been this active on the chat. I don't think in all the years combined, I think this is the most active I've ever been on the chat. And
I think it's a sign of the times too, right? Like, this is COVID era. When you're home,
right.
You don't have a lot of stuff to do. So I think when we sort of put that out there at the beginning, that, you know, this is important to us because it's kind of all we got.
Yeah.
You know, it's really you when you're looking at your phone or you're home after work or even during work. I mean, it's something to do. Keeps you involved, keeps your mind off of things on something
Mhm.
else, and it mixes it up. It's fun, right? So it's worth it for everybody to be engaged and be in the chat.
Yeah.
Not to say that it wouldn't have been that way, but it got a alley oop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. Let me get into some of who is Pootie here. I just like for whoever doesn't know you or maybe thinks they know you, I just a few questions here. The standard question: how long have you been playing fantasy football?
Man, with this when this league started. Um,
That's crazy that you and London.
well, it was the same situation, right? The same influence. I mean,
Yeah, we were all pretty much.
we were all on the porch. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Blue house, old school, right? Doing what we do on a Monday night. You know, slamming a 24 pack on the porch. You know what I'm saying? And Alex or London kept going upstairs to Mike's room. Mike's watching football. He keeps coming down, telling me what the fuck's going
I
on.
remember.
Mike's
Yeah.
game. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about, bro. But why you keep running? Yo, you got to see this, blah blah blah, kind of thing. And you know, after that, and after they explained to me what the hell the purpose was and how you play,
Hmm.
the next year Mike started the league, and that's when I got started. So I mean,
Wow.
been here since the beginning, um, and haven't really done shit, but still, I've been here since the beginning.
You are, and you started your own league. You started your own endeavor. It was actually pricier than our league. It
Yeah,
was the Big Ballers Club.
you know what it was? I couldn't keep up with it at
It's
that time,
hard. It's
right?
hard.
Like I was going to work, going to school, kind of thing, and
Mhm.
full time, and managing the league and keeping up with the bullshit, and then chasing people for dues, and I'm like, man,
Newfound respect
yeah,
for our commission.
let me just go do something else, right? Like I played in a few work leagues and stuff like that, and I've always
Mhm.
played in this league, but even this year I'm only playing in this league because of I think what everybody else mentioned is competitive. It's a different little edge to it, and
Mhm.
you know, it has purpose.
Yeah.
So and purpose for me is beating all of you guys that you know I've been involved in this league with for so long, but I
Yeah.
haven't been yet able to achieve that.
Hey man, this is I'm you're one step beyond me, so much respect and good luck to you, man, coming up. I definitely feel like we'll talk about this.
Yeah, for sure.
Another question. Um, I have a few. I wanted to get a little Niners Bills in. Maybe we'll get that in at the end. What? Okay, I feel like I should ask this more. What player positions do you feel in fantasy that you have the most firm grasp on?
Oh man, that's a tough question. For me specifically, um, none.
Wow.
but
I think this
but
year, I think in the past,
look,
maybe, but now I think this year you've tweaked it. I think you definitely, I think wide receivers, you've nailed them this year.
yeah, yeah. I mean, remember when Keenan Allen was a beast? I had him right. The
Yeah.
first when he first was beasting when he came onto the scene. I was the one with Keenan Allen, so I kind of seen that. I had Edelman in his prime. Like I've had some good receivers in their prime, but I've never considered that as you know my expertise. I always went for running backs first.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I've always thought I had it right, and it ended up not being right. Right? Eddie Lacy, Trent Richardson,
Oh my God,
McCoy when he got hurt, Le'Veon,
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell not getting Connor right, and Mike did the same shit this year when he tried to get Hunt, that bastard. Um, but you know, I even had Camaro when he let me down last year, right? And they weren't really announcing
Wow, that's
his
right.
injury. You know, he was still getting in the game, but wasn't doing shit. And
Mhm.
Latavius was beasting. So I've had some bad luck there, but I've always drafted around running backs. Tight ends, I'm trying to do something there. I don't know what it is specifically, but like, you know, I got a few metrics that I kind of gauge my decision on, whether they be the most comprehensive or, you know,
Or accurate.
insightful or
Yeah.
accurate.
Mhm.
I don't know, but I use them and it's kind of helped me, you know, thus far make some good decisions there. But I wouldn't consider myself an expert in any one of those spaces, man, because like I mentioned, it's to me, there's probability and possibility.
Mm-hmm.
You can do all the research you want in the world and make the right decisions logically.
Yeah.
But the possibility is anything can happen in the game. And, we could talk about this a little later, but I think it's who has a better grasp comprehensively of the probability of something happening that actually makes the the best decision and not always the most popular decision.
Yeah, and I think that informed decision needs to combine not only the metrics and analytics that you can see on paper, but it's also what you see on the field as well, right? There has to be kind of a give and take between those two, right?
Well, you guys always talk about the eye test, you know what I'm saying? That definitely, because again, you rely on the input of whether it's like beat writers or analysts or people who do their own podcasts and have their own fantasy football shows and publications. But at the end of the day, they're using a set of metrics too. And like we mentioned, if
it's
you
the same data. It's the same data we have access to.
yeah, and sometimes their logic is too basic, right? And it
100%.
doesn't incorporate a lot of elements that you're like, but wait, you know a piece of information that you feel is critical that they haven't incorporated into their analysis. You're like, all right, I can't trust you anymore. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I bet you if you rated all these guys and just check their sort of accuracy week on week, you'll probably see that all of them are average at best, like the rest of us. Right?
That's an interesting concept. Well,
Yeah,
we're gonna have to connect on that. We're gonna have to
yeah,
connect on that.
absolutely. I mean, look, Cole Beasley was projected 6.25 points this week, right? Not to harp on that, but because there's plenty of examples. But
No,
this
it's a great example.
one,
Yeah.
and he got 19 points because you've seen John Brown is out. You've seen that 49ers have slot defenders hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You see that Allen has an eye for him the last couple of games.
Exactly.
He's hitting the targets, blah, 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 blah. And he's just a tough ass player. But 6.25 and he gets 19, like.
Yeah, what goes into crunching that specific number?
And who was really saying start Beasley, right? Over some of the players I had, right? I bet you folks would have said start Hilton this week just because everything that was going on with Houston. And I thought about it, and that was a good play as well. Don't get me wrong.
Would have been a solid play.
Beasley was the best play at the end.
Yeah.
But again, back to it, to me, it's probability, possibility, anything could happen. But there are some ways to make intelligent decisions that some folks here do a really good job of in this league.
Let me tell you something. Talkdown TV has plenty of room for more shows on the network. So
hey, there you go. There you go. Data analytics.
We'll talk.
We'll call it trust in who.
I'll call your management. We'll get that set up. Right, we'll get the clearances. One more question before we head to the other side. And I feel like this is a fun one. Would you take a punch in the face by Mike Tyson or a kick in the nuts by Justin Tucker for $1 million?
No, I'm taking a punch in the face because I
need those.
Very sensitive down there, and I think they're like flushed by a guy like Tucker. They may be, unusable going forward, and that's going to inflict a lot of pain. Mike Tyson, he hits you as hard as he can, whatever, you're going to just be knocked out. You know what I'm saying? You're going to feel it like later.
They'll probably break like an eye socket or like break the nose.
Exactly. That shit heals, you know what I'm saying? And, they got medication and all that. And you're getting $1 million. But what I'm saying is when you get knocked out, you just knocked out. It's not the pain that you feel. When you get kicked in the nuts, it's like a excruciating, lasting pain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. That's a good answer. But in the end, you never said you wouldn't do it. $1 million is totally
I'm
worth
taking
it.
the mill, man.
Yeah, 100%.
How hard you got to work for a mill?
100%. Let's head over to the other side, bro.
All right. See you over there.
Ladies and gentlemen, a brief moment to recap the Lights Out Fantasy Football League. Lights Out League, where you never know what Nelson will do next.
All right. We're back.
That
was pretty quick, right?
Yeah. Shit.
On the other side, as usual, we have 2 cents. Pootie, take it away.
Yo, what sense do I have? Playoffs.
Got plenty up there. I know you got plenty.
Yeah, no, I think again, it's playoff time, right? It's look, I'm in the playoffs with some really good managers, right? Experienced, competitive managers who have made it to the playoffs more times than me.
Perennial winners, yeah.
Who have won championships, as you mentioned, multiple championships.
Yeah.
Who come every week, every season to win, right? And to be competitive. And look, this is my fourth time out of 10 years making to the playoffs, and I don't really get too deep when I do make it, but it's exciting to be here, right? Because look, Keith's an experienced manager, you're an experienced manager. Will, Carl, those guys had good teams and could have easily been here, right? Because they're just as good in terms of being knowledgeable and knowing how to play fantasy football. So, I'm happy to be at the big table.
Yeah, no, that's
I'm
amazing.
happy to be at the big table. I'm the weakest team in there, and I acknowledge that, right?
I mean, that's all.
And again, from the metric standpoint, right?
100%.
I'm in sixth place. I have lowest points. I'm going against a big bad wolf this week, right? So yeah, I'm happy to be at the big table. And I think it's going to be, again, a challenge and a test of, again, how well you make decisions, right? And how well you make decisions obviously stems from how well you prepare, how much research do you have the right eyes, you know what I'm saying, to trust them. So a number of variables, but I'm excited for it. I think, again, it's going to be documented here on the podcast.
I mean,
right?
this is the first ever for this pod. So, I mean, there's probably more eyes on this one than there's ever been. Including
not to interrupt during my sense, but I would like the league to support me in my new business venture, man. So maybe we could drop a link later with the website, you know what I'm saying? But I'm launching a new line of clothing.
Okay. But let's make sure your camera's focused. I want to make sure that we get okay, good.
Yeah, stand up, man. It's called JC is trash. You see that?
Yo, I'm getting calls on the phone. Wait, I got an order already, bro.
Yo, check it out. JC is trash.
I got an order.
Check this out, y'all. At JC is trash.
$10.99. Is that what it is?
Yo, we got all colors: long sleeve, short sleeve, sweaters, hats. You let me know what you need. Discounts for anybody in the league.
2 for $5.
This team name really got me to the playoffs. I went on a 4-game winning streak until I lost last week, and I lost last week by a couple of points, right? And Herbert doing what he did. But at the end of the day, this team has been a good luck charm. I plan on retaining this name throughout the playoffs as long as I'm near. But again, hit me up. We'll drop the link. And again, there's a coupon code for anybody in the league that wants to purchase.
Yeah, and there is a fantasy standard code. It is JC is trash, TFS 15. Make sure you use that code at checkout. If you want to purchase, there are specials. They have a TFS special on the website right now. 2 for $5. Make sure you hit up JC is trash at pootie.com or something like that. Is that how it works?
That's it.
Merch. People got merch. Look at this. All right. Show that off, brother. Show that off. All right. So I'm going to fit in a little bit of my sense, and it's kind of piggybacking off what you're saying, except I'm going to switch it up, and I'm going to just make sure that I congratulate every single manager that made it, from the commish to Pootie, to John, to Shooter, to Ryan, London, especially. He was number one the entire year pretty much. And Pootie here, or quote unquote at JC is trash. You guys, it was fun battling you guys all year. I think the teams that deserve to be in it are in it right now. Obviously I would have loved to be in it, but it's fun. It's been fun to watch. I think the trash talking has made it even more compelling. The show has added a little element to it. I think the hardest part is obviously preparing all year and falling short, but I think that as a whole, I think there's optimism for the league, right, going forward, which is really good.
Yo, man, congratulations on that bye week in the consolation bracket. And let me tell you something. You earned it, brother. You earned it.
I worked so hard for it.
Salute.
All I got is a podcast out of it.
Cheers, my brother.
Cheers, brother. Thank you. Let's get into it. Wait, before we get into that, the Lights Out Awards The TFS Awards reminder, all categories are listed in our previous episode for week 13. You can still go and vote. You have until week 16 to submit, and then we will reveal the winners on that episode. So make sure you send all votes to thefantasystandardtfs@gmail.com. That's thefantasystandardtfs@gmail.com. All right, brother. You want to get into last week's matchups?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Let's do this. Let's recap this. I mean, do I really want to do this, to be honest? I quit. I'm not gonna lie. All right. So first matchup, my matchup against Keith, and the significance of this is that there was a lot of different playoff scenarios. If Keith wins, I think he was a shoo-in to get in, right?
Yeah, because he would have had 8 wins, right?
Yeah. Because he didn't have the points. He had
the least amount of points amongst us all.
Right. I think I was up by 20 points on him, and you were up by 20 points on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a lot of drama heading in. I needed a big game for like a Lamar, for instance. I just needed big games to just put up points. And then Gore gets hurt in the first drive.
Yo, I'm watching that game when that happens, and I missed the very beginning, but then I heard the announcer say, Gore's being evaluated in the 10th. And I'm like, damn, already? But yeah, and then on the other side is,
yes.
Yeah, baby. Get him, Gore.
Because you also, I mean, it would have been better if Keith had lost, because you solidify your playoff spot if you lose anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if Keith wins, you're out.
Yeah. Either one of you guys, right? Because I have points on both of you.
Yeah, but exactly. But Keith with the 8 wins would have just gone right over.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so it was fun to watch. I think the hardest part was just such a painful thing when I went into Tuesday night. I knew it was I felt like the lead was insurmountable because you had Baltimore to offset it.
Yo, you thought it would have been one of those matchups where Baltimore kind of took advantage of a struggling Dallas team.
Yeah. Lamar's struggling, man.
The truth is that Baltimore defense has had some injuries, right? Different players out at different times. Calais Campbell, I think, just came back, and it was his first game, and he was a little rusty. And I think they had some folks in the secondary hurt, so they weren't kind of playing at the same strength they were at the beginning of the year. And I've seen that a few weeks. That's why I've kind of tried to sub some other teams in where I could. Mm-hmm. But I thought this was an opportune game, and they just didn't come through like I expected.
You also think about something that I don't think we're real. There were 2 things that stood out to me. I think about this game. Andy Dalton in prime time, and I think the commish mentioned it. He's right. I think he's a nightmare there, right? If you're rooting for a team that he's on. But there are no fans in the stands. I think that's super important to the psyche of a defense. They feed off of that. That it's practice. That's all it is.
That's a great point. And I think it's almost like, okay, if you play better with a crowd, I mean, the level of drop off without a crowd, how much is that, right? But if you play poorly with a crowd and then you don't have a crowd, the gain is much more sort of substantial.
Yeah, it's like some people crumble under that pressure.
Exactly, absolutely. Yeah, but they got trashed anyway. I mean, the thing that killed them is Lamar's ability to run the ball. They didn't know what to do, in terms of a defensive scheme there, and they got trashed. So, but it wasn't. Baltimore didn't do me any favors there.
Yeah, a little hindsight theater here for you. I would have not taken Lamar in the second round. And I really think in the offseason, they really need to get this guy with a quarterback coach, because his mechanics are all over the place. Bro. He can't make an open throw to save his life. And there's nobody around him when he's making some of these throws. It's just the elbow above the hand. It's just super weird. And I think they really need to get Lamar with a quarterback coach, or else.
So tell me this though, and you probably watch more than me, but I watched him quite a bit in college, right? Mm-hmm. And he was slinging that thing left and right. So is it something that changed since he's been in the NFL, that obviously he's super inaccurate? Or is it something that's always been there that just college allowed, for him to be successful as opposed to the NFL?
I think that he's another, whatever the seasons left, of inconsistent passes and doing what he was doing Monday night, like they got away with the win because of the running, but they're not going to play Dallas every week. All right. Like the playoff teams can stop the run for the most part. Right. So once they do that, the Titans have taught you that Lamar, let him throw it.
Yeah.
Let him throw it. And I think that he's a half a year away from having a case of the yips.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Something happened, right?
Yeah, I think it's the confidence, man. I think it's the confidence.
Yeah, but
because it's the throws that he doesn't have to think, he nails it in the corner with Hollywood. The throws that he's sitting in the pocket and it's literally easy breezy, just get it to your receiver. For some reason, I feel like it's harder for him.
My only question, I don't disagree with you, is what changed? Because he used to be fairly accurate in college. So that's my question.
Yeah, I just think confidence, snowballing.
Yeah, and even in his rookie year, though, I'm not sure how many touchdowns he threw, but I thought it was quite a bit, right?
No, he was mostly effective with his legs his rookie year, because I had him his rookie year.
So, I mean, he was hitting Andrews quite a bit, though, and he was hitting Marquise Brown quite a bit, or Hollywood Brown.
Well, last year he was hitting them significantly.
Yeah. So this year, all of a sudden, he can't hit an open receiver, right?
No,
so what I'm saying is, what went wrong there? Is it in his head? Yeah. Could absolutely be right. Could be in his head. But I don't know if a quarterback coach helps that or who helps that, but yeah, he needs some help. Fact.
Yeah, I agree with you. I go back to my quarterback, Josh Allen. They swore that this guy, he will never get the accuracy you need. Look at him now, 68%. I'll take that. Right. So, but that's all due to working hard with a quarterback coach this offseason. But to your point, if it's mental, who's going to fix that?
Yo, if I'm a GM, if there's not a clear-cut number one pick at quarterback like Kyler Murray, yo, let me get one later in the first round. Like, because if you look at the probability again, or the percentage of, quarterbacks in the later picks of the round, or even later rounds that are successful in NFL criteria, probably more than first round picks.
Yeah.
Or, first, second, or third picks of the first round.
Pretty much.
I can imagine, but yeah, man, I'm Josh Allen. God bless you, man.
Yo, but after how many years, so.
Yeah, that team is just looking dynamic.
It starts with your GM. It starts with your GM, your coach, instilling a culture. They got rid of that Rex Ryan culture, all of that failure culture we had in the past. It's about progress. It's about holding each other accountable. It's about everybody being on the same team. There's no individuals. They buy into all that there, bro.
Yeah, no, I think it's that, and I think it's Allen, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because y'all always had some good pieces, some good defenses, but that all
Bledsoe, JP Lawson,
man.
Trent Edwards. I mean, I can name you all the court. Ryan Fitzpatrick was probably one of our.
Exactly. You in fantasy, you're playing in defense if that team's playing Buffalo. This year, I don't think so, brother. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. So
yeah,
kudos to them, man. I like the team. I like the team.
Nah, as a coming from a Niners fan, I know that that's genuine, so I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the other recap. This one, I mean, we don't have to spend as much time on any of these. I want to get into the playoff matchups. It was He Hate Me against Struggle Bus. Will's farewell tour ended with a win. He finally snapped his 10-game loss streak and beat HHM.
Thank you for avenging me. Struggle Bus. After he beat me by 0.08.
Right. Oh my God. That was almost that Hinton move, dude. Almost cost you the playoffs.
Yeah, yo. I mean, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Mike's team is just
Rodgers and Adams are ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm watching the game. I swear to you. Rodgers, he has eyes for Devontae for sure, but goddamn.
No, it's obsessive.
Devontae's his first, second, and third read. I'm like, is he open? Nah. Is he open? Nah. Oh, he's open. Like,
yo, I think Ryan and I, when Ryan comes to watch the games, I think we've developed like a silent, just like hitch involuntarily at the same time, whenever Devontae scores, we just look at each other and shake our heads like, again?
You know, the thing about Mike's team is that it's a damn strong team, number one. And I just think, and maybe we'll talk about it a little later.
Yeah.
But I think that Mike's team, he's got a lot of choices. But Mike's a good decision maker. But sometimes you can make the wrong choice when you got too many good ones, right? And logic doesn't always prevail. And anything is possible. But, you know, Mike's Mike, so.
Yeah, I think if there's one person that's probably well equipped to handle that decision, it's probably him. One thing I do want to note for next year, you know, tight end is one of those positions that's really hard to gauge. You have your formula that you use. Me, I have one and none of them work. I think at the end I maybe came up with one, but the tight end position, Darren Waller, you saw that struggle bus has had him in consecutive years. You see the game that he put up this week with 200 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Where do you put him on the pantheon of tight ends at this point?
Darren Waller is good, but I'm not, you know, as high on him as some people are, right? I watch the games. I see he gets targets and blah, blah, blah. But look, he was playing against a Jets team that was clearly throwing the game, right? And whoever he was abusing, it was consistent throughout that game. And
I mean, it was everybody on that team.
Derek Carr gave him a look every chance he had, right? Like every down, he was looking at Waller first. And he's good, don't get me wrong. But look, he threw up 32 points, man. He's had double-digit games, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's his 5th double-digit game, right? And I mean, when I say double digits, he's got an 11, a 10.8 in here. So he hasn't been like significantly great. I mean, Tanyan's probably got similar numbers if you don't count the 32 he got last week, right? So from a fantasy standpoint, I don't know if you put him like top 2 or anything like that, right? Kittle's there, Kelsey's
Kelsey,
there.
Kittle, and then everybody else.
Yeah, I don't think, if you want to put him 3, I wouldn't be mad at you, but I'm just saying that the rest of that group, to me, it's kind of muddled, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Well, you know, Brock's been putting up some good numbers as late. So it just tells you about what needs to happen for a tight end to be successful. And it's a couple of things, right? You got to have that quarterback connection for sure.
That's number one. Yeah, and I think what happens is that a Kittle is a 3-down tight end too. Whereas you have move tight ends like Evan Ingram, who unless he lines up outside, he's not going to be in the game. Yeah. So Evan Ingram, when he's in the game, it almost removes that surprise element. Like a George Kittle, you don't know if he's there to block or to catch.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why a Kelsey, a Kittle, guys that are great blocking tight ends that could also move, I think those guys are more valuable because of that run blocking strength or even pass blocking strength for that matter. So that's why those guys may be separate. You know, Tunyon, you know, I didn't know he trained with Kittle until that game where he blew up. And
yeah, the interview, right?
Yeah, so Tunyon is a guy that's an interesting prospect because he has that 3-down capability. And in that offense with Green Bay, if Aaron Rodgers could ever, like, you know, maybe add or have eyes for another person in his life other than Devontae Adams, and you see the last 2 weeks have been touchdowns with Tunyon. So I think he's bringing him back into the fold. Well,
I mean, look, if he's like the 4th read, right? Devontae's 1, 2, and 3. Tunyon's 4, right? He can't trust MVS, and he can't really trust Lazard, you know, for too much, right? Because Lazard just coming back, but maybe that'll improve and go back to what it was early in the season. But right now, it's not there. So he knows I'm not going to Devontae on 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to Tunyon and 4. Aaron Jones, obviously, when they're running the ball, you know, they want to run it with him. But also, and we'll talk about that later, they do mix Jamal Williams in there some awkward times. You're just like, why? And you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, don't get me started on these committees and these rotations and the logic behind it. Because obviously, as a football fan, some of these rotations don't make sense.
But 32 from Waller, man, there's not many tight ends that have that ceiling.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to consider as well. And I'm not downplaying him. I think he's a great player, but I don't know how that. I think when it comes to tight ends, it's the most matchup sort of
dependent.
What do you call it?
Position.
Position. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. You know, Waller has been one of my favorites. I don't know if I would draft him high though, right? I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
If for a tight end, if the draft capital is even worth it.
Absolutely.
So let's move on to the next one. And it's your matchup against Ryan. And your scenarios were, if you won, you were good because you were at 8 wins. In fact, if you won, you would have locked up the 4th seed? Third seed, right. So you had that scenario. You also had, if you lost, you needed Keith to lose, and you needed me to, if I won, you needed me to not cover that 20 points you had on me.
Absolutely. And it
was so many scenarios.
Yeah.
I was just,
or I could have just beat Ryan.
Right. Or you could have just, exactly. And that was it.
Yeah.
It was just, I think by Monday I was like, just get it over with.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you, but look at how close it came.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at how close it came. And look, me and Ryan's game, look, man, I know the discussion around Herbert, right? And I know it's Belichick, blah, 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 against rookie quarterbacks, but I didn't expect the dude to give me 6. I knew he wasn't going to give me 30, right?
But at least 1 passing touchdown.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? Not 6. Right. So at the pace he was going, I think anybody would have started him in that space. And you might have some people that in hindsight will say you should, I would have started.
But with hindsight, with that information available.
Not even hindsight, in foresight, they would have said, I'm going to start Goff because it looks better. But would you have really made that decision at the pace that Herbert was playing at? Probably. Let's be real. But
the stats, no.
Yeah, and then I'm watching that Green Bay game, and Aaron Jones gets that ball, and it's like less than 4 minutes left or something like that, and he just houses it, and I'm like, and that's what Aaron Jones can do anytime. He's a home run hitter for sure, right?
Yeah.
And at that moment, I'm like, yo, you couldn't just get 10 yards, or 20, same
well,
shit.
Philly didn't want to tackle, so.
And that hurt a lot, but again, I didn't expect Henry to give him 4.9 against Cleveland, even though I respect Cleveland's run defense a lot. I didn't expect that game to go the way that it went, 41-35, right? So, and then Dobbins was being Dobbins, and he predicted it, but Butker gave him 17 the night before. I'm watching that game, Kansas City just kicks field goals now? Since when?
Well, I mean, here in the show, we love those kickers in division games. And Butker, who was underperforming for him all year, obviously, I think if you take a kicker in the 9th and 10th round, you can consider that a reach for some kickers, right?
You see what you just mentioned? You said that you love kickers in division games, right? Back to, I think that's an example of a really astute fantasy football player, right? Because again, there are levels to research and watching football, understanding football, and sort of aligning it with your fantasy football objectives, right?
Right.
And if you say you're going to pick a kicker up, I may look at it and say, yeah, that team defense is susceptible to field goals, but it's not raining outside. The weather's beautiful. He's on a consistent track record of, kicking field goals. Hasn't missed a lot.
Indoor, outdoor.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then when you take the elements of, he in division games, they always kick field goals because he knows them well and blah, blah, blah.
And they maybe stop him in the red zone more and stuff like that. Yeah, that's how it works. But I think, it's like you say, that's a metric that you can't measure unless you watch the games.
But astute fantasy managers know that kind of stuff and factor it in, right? Because if we both got 10 sort of variables that we're reviewing to make a decision, but you throw in this 11th and 12th variable that are actually critical that I'm not even considering, right? It helps you to make a better decision. And when I look at, really the teams the fantasy managers that make the playoffs and win championships a lot, I think they factor those things in, right? Like Mike will know that, Aaron Jones, his girl just had a baby. And
or somebody's upset about their contract, so that's why they're not playing.
Right? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? Like, who cares? But he'll make his decisions based on these additional sort of critical, whether weekly or long-term variables. And again, astute fantasy managers use that kind of information to their benefit, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But Ryan beat me, man. Ryan beat me, man.
Yeah, and you know what the good thing is that despite your I know Josh Jacobs missing is probably a big piece that because if you can have Chubb and Jacobs, dude, that looks really good.
It's not that Josh Jacobs is missing; it's that Devontae Booker is suspect as hell.
Yeah, well, the one thing about him, my reservations with him was the fumbling issues, and he was historically he's a fumbler, so they're gonna protect that.
Yeah, no, I got to. I was expecting more out of him, just.
He's got juice though. If he gets the touches, man, he's got juice.
Based on his capability, I was just disappointed. He was in a sweet spot with the Jets. So, yeah. But the Jets' run defense is not. It's improving, right?
It's the best part of their team, actually.
Exactly. So. It's nothing to be slept on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so we'll see what happens next week.
I mean, these are all the things you got to consider, right, in making decisions. But
yeah,
Brian beat me, man. I beat him earlier in the year. I was hoping to sweep him, and I couldn't sweep him. But his team is suspect as hell. You know what I'm saying? We'll get into that a little more.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Inconsistent is what I call him.
My God, you came with bombs today, bro. Jeez. The next one here is I have an announcement to make, actually. Apex Predator is back. Shooter now has his Apex Predator moniker. And his last week he beat UAA to finally put a nail in his career with I'm just kidding. Maybe not. So Apex Predator 118, UAA 107. Let me tell you something. That Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs stack almost brought him back.
Yo, Josh Allen was on one. He was balling. I'm telling you, he looked so comfortable in that pocket. You know what I'm saying? And he was just putting the ball on the dime where it needed to be.
Yeah, moving around in the pocket a little bit when he had
to. He reminds me of Young Ben. I'm not lying. He reminds me of Young Ben, man.
Yeah, I love that comparison.
That smooth. Like you look at Ben as a regular dude, you're like, yo, you goofy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Ben on a football field is like very like
he gets it, bro.
Smooth, man. He's smooth, man. He's smooth.
He's in control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen is in control, man.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, I know that Shooter was holding celebrations until that game was over.
Of course.
Yeah, because when you look at UAA side, I think there's something that I want to point out, and I think he did this a few times this year, that there's an unconventional move that I've seen in other leagues, but I've never seen. Maybe because the flex was just made available to tight end, but he did 2 tight ends this time again.
Yeah, he did it again. To your point, again. And look, man, UAA, we've gone through this on many of episodes, and look, there's nothing personal against you, UAA, but you like, we got to kind of review your application, because we found out that, after further investigation, there was some misrepresentation on your resume, right, in your application. So we're going to take that back and have that discussion. But even though I beat you, and technically if you're a man of honor, you will leave the league, and unless we decide on some criteria that you can re-enter. Right. And that's the way it should be. If you're a man of your bets.
Yeah.
But and the thing about Nelson is, like, he seems like he wants to be part of the league. He just doesn't know how. You know what I'm saying? He's like that kid that wants to be cool with the cool kids, but just like is awkward as hell and doesn't know how to kind of integrate.
I think it's part that, and it's like some of the actions, they shouldn't mirror this just being a leisure, like, I'm just playing around. Let me see what happens if I you get what I'm saying. You get where I'm going with this, right? Like he needs to understand ramifications and like how dominoes start falling when you start doing certain things.
Facts. And I don't know what the expectation was set for him coming into this league, right? But maybe he didn't understand the level of competition and seriousness that we take it. and he thought it was something more casual and friendly,
Yeah.
right?
No,
So
I
he
get
may
it.
have come in with the wrong sort of understanding, and then after the shit went down, he understood more clearly, like, oh, I see, y'all.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see
Right.
that.
So I'm not trying to bury him. I'm just saying that we made a man's bet. You honor your bet. You want to get back into the league. If the league agrees to a certain criteria, they want to let you in. I'm okay with that as long as we all agree on it, right? But I'm not going to fade him 100% because he made a bad decision. Even though I don't like it, and I know most people don't like it, I think if you have a real interest in being in the league, I think you need to prove that somehow to us, and we need to take that into consideration.
I agree. I do agree. I don't think it's gonna be. I look. If I sit at a poker table, I want to sit with the best players. Period. And you know, I specifically choose what I want for leisure in my personal life. This is one of them. So if I'm gonna invest a lot of time, which is crucial for people like us in our lives, I want to make sure that I'm focusing on something that I don't feel like is wasting my time.
Yo, man, talking shit to your friends and beating them in fantasy football, why is that not worth it?
Yeah,
right?
it's
and I think you guys have talked about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Done a great job in terms of drafting, right, and starting the season.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He made a terrible move, right, that was catastrophic in some perspectives. But without that, we would have been, singing a different song, right? And
look, yeah, completely. The album.
I'm the leader of Kick Nelson out, hashtag Kick Nelson out the league. What I'm saying to him is, if you want to be in the league has to agree to the criteria to let you in, because not only did you commit an offense that was sort of egregious, but you also lost a bet, that you proposed.
Yo, and you reaffirmed you gave him the opportunity to reaffirm the bet. And he did.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't really going to bring it back up, but he pushed the buttons and then he lost. But anyway, man.
Yeah. No, it's great. That was a third sense in the middle of a little bit of recap.
That was a third sense. Yeah. JC, that was for you, brother.
One thing, New England with 31 points, that defense, that defense last year was doing the same thing. It's crazy that we'll just watch them around this time of year, see what they do. Is there anything else for that matchup before we move on?
I mean, that defense, man.
What? Three special teams touchdowns?
Man, it was painful to watch. Like,
oh right, you had you had the quarterback on the other side.
Yeah, I had Herbert. It was very painful to watch. I mean, but again, that New England defense from a fantasy standpoint hasn't been performing at that level. No. So I think, honestly, they got into Herbert's head, right? It was all that talk got into Herbert's head, right? I mean, look, you got Eckler back, and it could be some game planning in there that with Eckler back that he's, not used to like focusing here and there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's an element of that, but I think all that talk around rookie quarterbacks and Belichick, and I think just playing that game kind of got into his head a little bit, man. But that defense can do that anytime. We've learned that over the years, right? Yeah. Depending on how they scheme week to week against a specific player and specific teams, they have that potential.
Let me tell you, Bill Belichick is holding that team with glue.
Yo, man.
Because that offense isn't very good.
Yo, man, he's got the best glue around.
Yeah, obviously. Let's move on to the next matchup. It was Let's Go, and who clinched the 12th spot against the whole show, who eked a win out because who was it? Claypool had an opportunity to pretty much end John's year. Not end it, but really make it difficult for Zeke Elliott on Tuesday.
Yo, it was cold. It was a cold game. The balls were bouncing off of everybody.
How many drops? It was like 6 or 7 drops, right?
Crazy. And look, I'm not a professional football player. I don't know what that condition is, the impact of that condition is with those gloves that they wear and the balls, stiffness and all that, right? But last week, we were hoping for a performance from Claypool. He had plenty of opportunities and
dropped a few.
Yes, right. plenty of opportunities from the onset of the game, and he didn't come through. And it was a Washington team, and he got his looks in the Washington game as well. We know that Washington defense has been playing better.
They're suspect against the deep ball,
but there were a few drops, and I mean, it is what it is. Clayton is just he can give you that big game, but he's still a rookie.
Yeah, and it's hard to have him
get it right. And you got Juju and Deontay on that team, and they're trying to get the run established, but that's got some work to be done in their defensive team. But Ben likes to throw it, and he wants to throw it. So
yeah, especially Big Ben at home. Le'Veon had a lot of opportunities. I think he got a goal line carry in this game.
Yo, what is up with him?
I don't know. He looks a little slower, and I know he's always been a runner with patience, but I don't know if he has that same little zip that he had a few years ago, man.
Man, that's look. He's lighter. He's more fit. He's got less sort of wear and tear on him because he's been sitting out games in New York. But that just goes to show you that synchronization that you have with your offensive line and that relationship for a running back, supreme, right? Mm-hmm. And with his style and that Pittsburgh offensive line, they just knew where to go when he was back there.
Yeah.
Right. And what the timing and everything, and he could afford. You just got signed to the Chiefs mid-year or whatever it was, right? It doesn't happen like that, right? You're just getting into games. So that style can be effective, but it's not you alone, Le'Veon, and that's what he thought. It was, this is just all me, baby.
Obviously not.
The Steelers knew it's not all you, brother.
Yeah, I mean, look at the line of Steelers that they've created there. So that's a running back factory over there.
Yo, man, but for this game, I expected Mahomes to have more, right?
Well, he had that touchdown that with Tyreek Hill that they never challenged.
Yeah, but those kind of things can happen every week. I mean, I'm saying I expected that to be more.
Yeah,
GL 2.9. That Miami defense is playing ball. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
And Gio's just, what do you expect from him, really? Unless he gets a lucky dump down touchdown, it's hard to expect him to really ground and pound.
I was gonna say Miami, if there's a weakness that they have is against physical runners. So Gio wasn't essentially built for this game, this game script.
Yeah. I give credit to the Sanders pickup for John. Kickers are important, man. Double-digit points from kickers, and I think he picked him up a couple weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. He had Blankenship, I think, and
early on, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But this kid Sanders has been performing, and that can be the difference in a game. And
a good defense with an offense that can get into position but can't really score. That's what the Miami Dolphins are.
Yeah, and it makes up for a Bernard play, right?
Yeah.
But
when your team is stretched out like John's is, or like most of the teams in the playoffs, then you can offset losses with some boom weeks from other people, because that's the type of teams that you have. Like, I feel like Mike has a team like that. When one person gets you 6 one week, they're not going to get you 6 the next week. It's trying to fill your team up with the most people like that, the highest probability players, but going to your point with the probability. And that's what John has, one of those teams.
Yeah, I'm gonna save my comments until we get to the
okay,
the next side of things.
Got it.
Yeah, he needed the win. He needed one from Zeke, right?
Yeah, well, he needed 1 point from Zeke, exactly. Going into Tuesday, that's all he needed to clinch a playoff spot, and he made it.
And as suspect as Zeke is, he got him some good 9
points against the Ravens, even if maybe it's not the Ravens you think.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point.
Let's go to the last recap, and it was the dead presidents and a surging Suicide Squad. We said it. I think that maybe a few weeks too late for him, but 110-94, and he ended at 5-8. London ended on a 2-game losing streak. Heading into his bye weeks to lick his chops, not lick his chops, or lick his wounds at this point.
Yeah, man. Look,
because Kyler Murray shoulder, we don't know. AJ Brown got I see a Q there. I think that's an ankle.
Look, this is what I'm gonna say, right? The man still scored 95 points on a very bad week, and look, his defense gave him 4. Lazard, are you really playing Lazard in the playoffs?
No, he said, and we had him on the show, and he said he was just trying some things out.
Yeah. Waiku steady, Cook steady. 8 from Metcalf, you'll take it. 23 from Murray, you'll take it. You wanted better numbers from Brown, possibly. But either way, he's got some points on the bench he could have plugged there if he was really being strategic. But look, he's got a really good team, but everybody can't go off consistently every week for 16 weeks.
Right.
And when the wrong ones don't go off, it could end up in an L for you.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's like, I think that what he benefits from is, like you say, is like that his worst week is probably as good as some people's good weeks.
Yeah, and Alex, man, all season he's been making some really great,
really good
educated decisions.
Absolutely.
I mean, that top stack, it's like automatic, right? But Miles Sanders, are you concerned about him going forward? Maybe.
I would be.
Maybe. I mean, that team looks in disorder right now.
Yeah, we'll talk. I mean, he's got a bye week, so we're not going to talk about his team. But.
Yeah, so it's something to just consider going forward. But I mean, look, he's been doing great all season, and you can't sort of throw shade on that. But hopefully that.
I got 2 pickups for you. Three. I got 3 pickups for you that he did that were really instrumental in basically solidifying his team. Damian Harris was a draft pick. He held on to him, had him in the IR. Damian Harris is as good as it gets, and for it to be a Patriots back to get as consistent work as he's getting, it's good, right? And Gus the Bus, 101 yards this week. Feels like Gus gets at least 75 yards every week.
Well, it's Gus and Dobbins primarily in that backfield. Yeah.
But he was a waiver wire pickup, but not even a waiver wire. He was a free agent ad. Gus.
Yes. No,
and then Higgins, obviously, you take away Burrow from that situation, and it doesn't make him as impressive, but still, Higgins was a pretty good wide receiver too for most of the year with Burrow.
Man, I was watching the game where he beat me, and I got Burrow, and I'm like, all right, as long as Burrow doesn't throw it to Higgins as much. And I'm sitting there watching the game with him, and Burrow is just peppering Higgins, and I'm like, fuck, that's the only sort of like opportunity I had to beat him. And Higgins, quality player, certainly. Be interesting what the future looks like for that team. Hopefully Joe Burrow comes back healthy, because I own one for giving me a couple W's.
Yeah, Joe, man, that's a tough injury, but the good news is that the Bengals get to go get him an offensive line. He can, he had some reps physically. He can get some mental reps, get that knee healthy, and next year with those weapons, I think he'll be fine. Man,
at the end of the day, it's nice to have like 3 weeks off though, right? In the season,
especially when, you saw those hits he was taking?
I'm talking about their presidents.
Oh, it must be nice. I can't relate at all.
you just resting, what I'm saying, chilling, just checking the app when you want, whatever. I score what? It don't even matter. I got to buy,
Let me tell you the sad story about my buy. Today I opened the app like 3 times. Like, what am I doing? What am I checking out of? This thing has no relevance to me anymore.
Yo, you know what's painful about it? And I've been there plenty of times, of course. You gotta wait like 6-7 months
for like 6 years,
or you even start really, doing what you do to prepare for the draft, or a few months before the draft, kind of thing. And it's like, damn, it's long, man. You wait for it, man. You wait for it until, they initially start breaking news about football, like really like.
My best part is when they renew the app, when they renew the league year. That's my favorite part of the year.
When is that coming? Like April, May?
Yeah, around there. And then when it's about to happen is when they open up mock drafting.
Yeah. No, it's an exciting time, but it sucks when you don't make the playoffs, man, and you're just sitting there waiting. And I don't blame the other teams. Like, you get disinterested, you're like, man, shit, because the shit hurts. You need that time to kind of deal with it, right? And then you're interested in who's winning, but you don't really care too much because you're not in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's a natural feeling. You care who wins it, but you're not really, involved as much.
You're not vested. Like you're like, yeah, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, you're like, I'll deal with him next year, whoever wins.
You check to see if anybody's talking shit about you, but
yeah, facts. You put the notifications when they mention my name.
And then you just write down the names in the comment and you just file it for later.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm in there for the long run, whether I continue on after this week or not, right? Because I can't. The shit. It's Cadena, it's Mike, it's Ryan, it's myself, and no, it's John and it's Alex, right?
Alex, yeah.
So I kind of want none of them to win, and if I had to pick somebody other than me, I'd still pick none of them.
Let's go really quick. Hold that thought real quick. I'm gonna do this. Is gonna give you more context as to what you're thinking about right now. So let's go over to the standings.
Yes,
and right now, number one per all year. I think he's held this position all year. Dead Presidents, who's probably the front runner for the MVP. At 11-2. Number two, HHM 9-4. Number three, Why So Serious at 8-5. Number four, The Whole Show at 7-6. The fifth seed is Apex Predator at 7-6. The sixth seed is our boy here, JC is Trash at 7-6. And then the losers. I don't even think it matters at this point, right? To put the rest of us.
Nah, it's a consolation prize contenders.
The other bracket.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry you had to be there, man, but you've placed me there a few times.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I gotta
I'm
take
not
it.
even upset, but I've been in that seventh spot. That seventh spot hurts because it's like,
right there.
Yo. So I owe you this one because you've sent me there about 3 times, and I'm happy to have one back at least.
Nah, dude. I think all year, pretty much everybody I had on has said that you've made really good moves, especially towards the end of the year. And it's rewarding to see someone that's put in work and made effort to like really get their team together. And you're in a position that you want to be, regardless of how you got in, right? 6th or 1st is all about how you finish, right?
Man,
that's it.
Yeah. I mean, happy to be here. Proud to be here. I feel it's an achievement, right? You feel you feel a certain level of accomplishment, but because again, it's some really astute managers in this league. And
I mean, this final 6 right here, pretty much. Let's go. I'm gonna now on the screen. They're gonna be seeing the playoff bracket. So if you have the playoff bracket in front of you, let's do this. Let's do this. So right now, I'm gonna like say what the matchup is, and then we're gonna get into the matchups after that. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so the bye weeks are the first seed Dead Presidents, and HHM has a bye week. The 3 seed, which is Why So Serious, is playing JC is Trash, and then JC himself, The Whole Show, is playing Apex Predator, who's the 5th seed. So 2 really good matchups. The first matchup we're gonna look at is Why So Serious and JC is Trash.
Yeah, man.
Mind games already. Mind games.
Yeah, you see it.
I saw that you had Herbert, Evans, Chubb, and I didn't know you had Sly in there earlier. I think you did. And then I saw that Ryan had his whole team filled out. but we're in this mind game.
Yo, I'm gonna drink to that savagery. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the kind of savagery I love, right? I love it. Basically, Ryan is sending me a subliminal shot that, I'm going to accept, right? I'm going to accept that shot, Ryan. I'm going to accept that shot, Chase, brother. I'm going to drink to that shot.
Nah, that was good, Ryan. That was good because I think I looked maybe about an hour or so ago, and his lineup was full.
Look, I'm not mad at him. Look, the truth is, again, like I said, I slid in here.
Mm-hmm.
I beat Ryan earlier this year, right? And he claims it wasn't his full team. I said, fine.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
but I beat him with the team that I had. I have a new team now. Hopefully he gets his full team, or what he considers close to his full team. Ryan's a really strong player, man. Historically in this league, he's
every year,
3 times playoffs every year.
Every year,
he's always up there in terms of points, terms of record. So look, much respect to Ryan. I'm not gonna sort of undermine his capabilities and just his ability to execute.
his acumen.
Yeah, his acumen. But I will say that, again, anything can happen. Russ was projected 30 against the Jets. Maybe.
Right. Russ has been disappointing.
Maybe not.
I think if you ask him whether he prefers to have Russ or James Robinson and Big Ben, I think he'll tell you he'll prefer to have Ben and Robinson.
Yeah, Russ ain't cooking, but Russ can cook.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Robinson against Houston, he's probably going to get his points there.
I can tell you, every single matchup that Ryan has, pretty much up and down, it's an exploitable matchup because he's specifically set up his schedule like that.
No, he's got quality players. I think it's going to be, game script and some different things that play a factor in whether this all comes true. He does have some on paper, some matchups you're like, damn, that's favorable. That's favorable. And I do give him that. And that's why I think when I look at my team, I got a few favorables as well.
You do.
However, I need to be creative, in my opinion, right? I really got to. And I just made the playoffs yesterday. We're doing a pod today, so I haven't done all the research I need to do.
And you got a game tomorrow.
Exactly. So I need to make some decisions. And
we appreciate your sacrifice, by the way.
Yeah, man. No, I got to do what I got to do. I got obligations. I'm a man of my word, and you are. I keep those obligations, but there's still some question marks with regards to my team. But again, Ryan's team to me has been inconsistent. If you look at their projections, Ryan's been probably projected 100 plus points every week.
Yeah, it's just scary sometimes, bro.
But he hasn't hit 100, but half of those times, right? So, like I said, he has one of those teams that, again, Aaron Jones is 17 points. Do they use him enough to get 17 points every week? I don't know.
No, I don't. Right. I think that you do it purely because of that. Like,
But he could get 35 against Detroit.
The way Aaron Rodgers is playing right now, it's like they're at the 1 and he's throwing it to Devontae Adams.
It's called Aaron Rodgers ball. Selfish as fuck.
Yo, he wants to
I'm throwing it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But again, he could throw it to Aaron Jones sometimes. So I mean, Aaron Jones has the potential, man. I'm not knocking. I'm just saying.
I think that the another thing that's underplayed there with Aaron Jones is the rotation with Jamal, man. It's almost a 50-50 split in terms of the times they're on the field.
Yeah, I mean, Jamal is capable. From a just football standpoint, he's capable.
Yeah, he's a 3-down.
He running through the tackles, getting the dirty yards, spelling Aaron Jones, blocking, all that good stuff. And basically Aaron Jones is the home run hitter, right? And he can hit a home run anytime. So it's a good sort of yin and yang on that in that backfield. And I understand why they do it from an NFL standpoint. From a fantasy standpoint, you're like, yo, give it to Aaron Jones. Feed Aaron Jones.
I'm going to give you, to your point, right? Who are these people that come up with these projections? Because why would Aaron Jones be projected 17 and Nick Chubb not be projected around that?
I mean, he's playing the Baltimore defense.
It's a division game.
So that's a fact.
Not like Chubb hasn't played them before.
Chubb's been sort of rated or calculated to achieve these type of points for like the whole season. It's never changed, and you've seen him. His capability and his performance has exceeded that very consistently.
What is his floor? What, 15? His floor is what, 15 points?
Yeah.
and you're projecting him 13?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Again, I don't agree with it. I don't even care if it's Baltimore.
Yeah,
we just saw Zeke with his third offensive line and his second quarterback put up 9 points against them.
Yeah, no, certainly. Not even because he's on my team, but next year, if Chubb continues this performance throughout the playoffs here, he's a top 3 pick.
I would say at least top 5.
Who are you taking in front of him at this?
I think CMC is still in the conversation because of his youth, right? Like he's still relatively young. He has that contract, so he's going to be involved. I wouldn't put Saquon in the top 5.
No.
I put Cook in the top 5. Dalvin. Henry.
I'm talking about next year, right?
Yeah.
Is
Kamara would probably be in the top 5.
Look, I'm not gonna put him. I'm not gonna speculate on that because there's a lot of speculation that can be had. I'm just talking about the way that he runs. I mean, this dude, like, and look, you could argue that it's his offensive line too, right?
The scheme, Kevin Stefanski,
yeah, and the scheme.
The 2 best running offenses. Well, there's 3. Ravens are obviously always going to be in the top, but the other 2 are Stefanski teams.
But this is what I would throw back. This is what I would throw back to that, and not to say that those aren't valid points, but when he was out, Hunt was no Chubb.
Right? But Hunt was no Chubb. Hunt wasn't no Devontae Booker either.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's levels to it.
No, dude, Chubb is different. Chubb is different.
He just runs in a way you're like, damn.
You know that I think that I saw a stat today actually while we're speaking about Chubb, because I'm very big on Chubb. I don't think there's anybody in the fantasy world that doesn't like Nick Chubb, but I think that he averages 4.3 yards a carry after contact.
Yo, to me, when I watch him, and I watch him every Sunday just because he's on my team, but like his running style for some reason, I don't know, it's just he's hard to tackle. Yeah. He's hard to tackle, but I'd be interested what other people think if he's top 5 next year. I think top 5, like me, I really believe in him if he's a healthy running back in that same scheme, same coach, same everything. I think he's a producer once healthy, man. If he's healthy for the rest of the games.
Yo, I agree, man.
Oof.
I agree. But he's a threat. He's definitely he's always going to be a threat, especially with that coach who believes in running it, right? I mean, so I don't mind that. Actually, let's ask the people who are watching now in the comment section below. Let us know who your top 5 is, or email us at thefantasystandardtfs@gmail.com. Let us know who would your top 5 running backs be if you were drafting in the first round right now.
Yo, I'm looking at this Derrick Henry on the bench. Of course you're playing Henry. I mean, don't be a clown, Ryan.
Yep. Oh no, he might. Well, against Jacksonville, bro. The last time Henry played Jacksonville, hold on. Oh, all right. He only put 8. I think what team am I thinking of that he played in? He always puts, it might be Houston. Yeah. All right. So Jacksonville, at Jacksonville, a division game, do they play him tough, because he only put up 8 against them last time.
Yeah, because Tannehill threw like 4 touchdowns or something against them. So
you can throw against Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, it's like whoever plays Jacksonville is throwing up points, so it doesn't matter. But the thing about Henry is, if there's any opportunity to run it in short yardage, goal line, any of that, he's getting it, right? And
he's getting at least 25 touches.
Absolutely, and then he has the potential to break it, right? At any time. So he's a threat for sure against Jacksonville for sure. It's, again, look, you're going to run touchdowns and we'll talk about it later, is Tannehill going to throw touchdowns? And Jacksonville, they've been susceptible to passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right? So, but we know he's playing them. You're not playing Henry. Stop it.
Especially when every week is the usage. You're at 25 pretty much every week, and he's in those high leverage situations. He doesn't come out of the game. He's in the game pretty much like 80% of the time. So nowadays, especially, you want that from your running back. So 271 carries, 1,300 yards, and 12 touchdowns. I'll take that. Yeah,
man. And Russ is probably gonna cook. Let's not front.
He hasn't been the last few weeks. I think the blow up game is coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not dismissing that. That's why I said, look, my team, I got to be very creative, and I got to get some unexpected points based on just popular sort of opinion.
Yeah.
It's got to go against the grain to a certain degree, right? So
what the first thing I asked?
I'm gonna be looking at that clearly.
What the first thing I asked myself when I looked at your bench? I was like, how is Fournette always projected 10 points?
Yo, I swear to you that I was thinking the same thing today. It's like, who's projecting this shit? Are you not watching the games? Kiss my ass, Keith.
Yo, I saw
Lenny
something.
sucks.
The great thing is
That's not
that
the point.
I think I think the universe called something out too, because after I thought that, I went on Twitter, and I don't know if like my mind is synced up with the algorithm in Twitter, but it said Leonard Fournette of the 15 carries, 66 yards with a 69 long run legend. So he had 15 carries for 66 yards. His longest run was 69 yards.
Yo.
Yo, you know how hard you have to work to do that shit?
Yo.
That's Leonard Fournette. So I don't know who at Yahoo really needs to just reevaluate and sit at the table with the people putting these numbers together, but you justify a 10 for him.
I'm at a loss of words because, again, it makes it look appealing on my bench. But again, if you don't watch football, maybe you would play him. But if you do watch football, you're not going to play him. But it's disappointing that I had him all year, and I maybe have used him once or twice tops, right?
And when you did use him, did you even feel confident in using him? I mean,
no, absolutely not. I mean, you don't feel confident in using him. I thought it was going to be something when that trade happened earlier this year.
Yo,
I thought it was like opportunity knocking. I was like, damn, I got lucky in that one for once.
Yeah.
And it still didn't pan out. So,
I mean, we're looking at another guy.
You're right. You know, Lenny sucks.
Lenny sucks. Oh, he admitted it on the show.
Damn, man.
You got it out of him. We finally got it out of him, guys. Round of applause.
Yeah, but again, I got to be creative in this matchup, man.
Yeah.
I know we're only talking 2 matchups, so we might as well talk about them, right?
No, I want to go in depth because this is, this show belongs to the winners, right? Like, I want it to be that, let's stress this matchup out.
35 defenses out here.
At one point, I told Ryan, I was like, "Damn, bro, you got to leave some scraps." Yeah, but after that, I started thinking, you know what, man? If you could do it, do it. That's a great.
Man, again, I love it when people have too many choices that ends up in a bad decision, right? So
yeah.
But Ryan, look, that's not to take anything away from Ryan. He's a good player, but that's realistic. But you're gonna play who? Andrews, more than likely.
Andrews without Boyle in the picture he's one of those, like, he's getting Waller usage, the usage that you want to get out of Andrews. Again, Lamar's only going to throw the ball maybe 20 times a game.
Yeah, but it's going to go 10 times to Andrews.
10 times, yeah. So, but look at his numbers since Boyle got hurt. I'd be worried about somebody like Andrews.
I'm worried about the whole team. I'm not going to lie.
I'm worried about everybody, man.
Yeah, I'm worried about everybody. But again, I was worried. Yo, facts. I was worried about a lot of players this week, right? I played them this week, and I was worried about a lot of players, right? And it didn't pan out. And that's why I said, Ryan, your team's been inconsistent the entire year. It's not that they don't have the potential to knock somebody senseless. It's that they don't always come through when you need them or expect them, right? And that's a problem. And you could probably say that for any team, but when you look at Ryan's lineup, it's like, yo, shit. That's a championship team.
Where am I going to get a break?
Yeah, that's a championship team. But they haven't behaved like a championship team all year is all I'm saying, right? And
I could see the inconsistency you're talking about. I think the fact that he still scored, he still put up a lot of points relatively to like everybody else, right? I think the fact that he still got 8 wins speaks volumes of like his team, right? The fact that even still underachieving, he's able to get into the playoffs. Of course.
Yeah, and look, he should win this game. I'm the underdog, but fuck it. I'm coming with everything.
Hey,
I'm coming with everything. I'm taking risks, that's right. But I'm going to pick up Ty Johnson just so you know tomorrow on the waivers.
Oh, so so I got the inside scoop. So did I just get an exclusive?
You got an exclusive. I'm going to pick up Ty Johnson with my first waiver tomorrow.
Okay, who do you think is going to be the second waiver pickup?
Who's picking second? Is it?
Let me see. The 5th seed. It would be the 5th seed. So it's John. Yeah.
No, it's Apex Predator. I'm sorry.
Apex, then John is 4. Yeah.
Apex Predator. Yeah. I think he goes QT because John's got Watson.
I like Cutie. I like Cutie, man.
Yeah. So if he picks him up, I mean, what is there, right? Like somebody's gonna pick him up, somebody's gonna pick Barber up. I mean, there's not a ton on the waiver, but looking at Ricky's team right now, he's got the tight end. I don't know what I'm gonna do. He's got the wide receiver flex. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Ty Johnson is. Oh, yeah. Jalen Hurts. Somebody's gonna pick up Jalen Hurts.
To do what with him?
But maybe to keep him away from someone. Although I think if you look at all of the managers in the league, everybody has their quarterbacks.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think you're playing cutesies this week, right? Watson, Tannehill, and Tannehill's playing the Jacksonville, like I told you. But we're talking.
Wait, what did you say about Cutie?
With that, no, I said John's got Watson.
Oh, yeah.
So he gets Cutie. Maybe he tries to take a few points away if he decides to go that route, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if not, he's gonna play whomever. But I'm going Ty Johnson. That's the exclusive. I just won't let him. And maybe I'll start him. Maybe I won't. But I got a lot to think about, and I got some time to do that. So
hey, see, you tune into the Fantasy Standard and you get exclusive, up-to-date news as soon as it, it just developed. Thank you.
Yeah, man. It's just, I was thinking about it all day. I figured I'd share it,
I like that Ty Johnson pickup. You know why? Because Adam Gase, even if it's not working, he's going to give him 20 touches. So you're good on that front.
And they're trying to lose, right? They don't want to be too sophisticated. Running, pass it if we have to.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, fine.
Oh, we got a rushing touchdown. Nice.
We'll blow it at the end if we have to anyway.
Call a zero blitz. Yeah, so that basically means you're not playing T.Y. Hilton this week, right?
No, I am.
Oh.
No. T.Y. is on. Look, T.Y. is still.
He's trending in the right direction though the last few weeks.
Yeah, I like T.Y.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a conversation with a certain manager last week inside Scoop.
Mm-hmm.
And I told that certain manager, look, man, I'm thinking about playing T.Y. Hilton and Beasley this week. But, part of it was like, damn, Murray, you gave me whatever points. I knew it was against Atlanta, but ego was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm still playing you, right?
It was just making up for the Hinton.
Yeah. But that was part of it. But the other part of it was that I thought something was wrong with Kamara still.
Well, there is.
Right? And I thought maybe Latavius would at least not get 24, but maybe get 10, right? I know it was against Dallas. I mean, Atlanta, and they were playing tough run defense. But I was hopeful, right? Just because he was coming off the week, blah, blah, blah. And that was maybe, again, another reinforcing learning lesson for me to now know that, all right, you got to be more careful with those kinds of decisions going forward. But look, Hilton, I was gonna play him, and I didn't, and I played Latavius, but I was going Beasley the whole way. Like I picked Patrick up because I felt like in this game, Patrick, with the targets he gets, with Locke, the kind of situations they're going to be in, would get some points, right?
Tim Patrick is basically their tight end.
Honestly, I picked him up because I didn't want Ryan to pick him up because I thought maybe he wouldn't play Dobbins, even though, maybe he would play Dobbins the whole time.
I think Ryan said it at 1 week, I think a few weeks ago. I think he's just going to go with Dobbins in his flex for the rest of the year because of, the dude's dynamic.
Yeah, but they don't treat him like he's dynamic.
Hell no, but Harbaugh doesn't treat anybody like he's dynamic. This is the guy that was giving Buck Allen meaningful touches.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I still got some decisions to make around that.
Yeah, you got some good ones though. I think that with the last week, very late, you picked up Patrick, right? I think you made that pickup late, and then he panned out. But I think that again, one of those guys that the projection says 6.78, but if you look at the games he plays, where do they come up with that? Right?
That's what I'm saying is that I got some decisions to make, and I'm gonna evaluate it.
Yeah.
And then I'll make those decisions, but I got to take some risks because his team, it can throw up 150 points on me, right? And I got to kind of mitigate that.
You got to be able to try to. Yeah, I agree.
Right?
One thing I wanted to mention, and I think that this is something that I've tried. I've tested it with myself. And this is something that anybody, whoever didn't make the playoffs, try this while you're in the constellation bracket. After you finish with a matchup, let's say you survive and you're playing next week. Before that next week matchup, let's say you just finished the game. The next day you can set your next week's lineup. Set that lineup right away. And then even if you don't use it at the end of the week, take a screenshot of that lineup. For me personally, 80% of the times I was right as soon as I set it up.
It was your instinct.
80% of the time, and I did this myself. 80% of the times I was right.
Yeah, because your instinct is really based off what you see, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Your experience basically is where really instinct comes from, right?
Yeah.
Or what triggers instinct. So you're probably absolutely right.
Yeah. So what happens with me is, and I know this happens to other people, is we're living in an information age. So I see some tweets pop up like, oh, this person's gonna go off. Like, oh, I'm hearing from this person is feeling good. And everybody's like, holy shit, I got to pick him up and start him. 0 points, no usage. You know what I mean? Like, I think we got to drown some of that noise out and just trust what we're seeing.
Yeah. But enough on this matchup, man.
Yeah.
I think, look, a lot of respect to Ryan. Happy to have him back in the league.
Yeah.
Up where he left off.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back for sure.
Very competitive. But nothing would make me happier than to see him lose this week. And I'm aiming for him. You know what I'm saying? Look, I beat him already. I was close to beating him this week in a very poor performing week. And if I make some better decisions, I think I have an opportunity. So I'm ready.
Not many people get a do-over.
I'm ready. We 1-1 in the regular season. Let's see.
Wow.
On the winning side of this.
Rivalry week in the playoffs. Who knew?
Cheers,
so who do you have in that matchup before we move
on? At JC is trash.
Okay.
Discounts. Don't forget, you know what I'm saying? Everybody in the league gets a discount at JC is trash.
Because you're such a gracious co-host, I'll give you an honorary pick, but because he's part of the show, I'm gonna play the diplomat here and I'm gonna pick Ryan too. Both of y'all are gonna win this game. Moving on to the next game. We have so by the way, John is online right now because he just changed his team name to the Legend Killer. So now we got different type of mind games. So in your matchup, you two are playing mind games with the lineups. And these are the two, I think that you can argue these are the two finalists for the Troll Award, right? I think you're in it too. From what I'm seeing, you three, these are two of the three finalists for the Troll MVP Award, and you can see why. Changing their names already, changing their pictures except for John. What's going on here? Explain it to me.
Yo, man. John and Ricky have been doing that all year.
All year.
Changing their names and trying to play mind games and thinking that it has an impact. And, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, who knows. But at JC is trash kind of set the tone for JC to be changing his name, right? Because he was either the whole fucking show or part of the show for most of the season.
Yeah.
And he started to go off script because he saw me after I changed my name to At JC is trash, go on a winning streak, right?
Yeah, but he's a habitual line stepper, so.
Yeah, so he's like, let me mimic that move because maybe it'll bring me some luck. So now he's changing his name. So, yo, John, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the flattery. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it.
Yeah, what do they say?
Imitation is
the best form of flattery. Yeah.
So I appreciate it, man.
So, so the guys came out. They're already starting. Apex Predator looks like he wants to regain the magic from when he won the championship with that name. We have, good quarterbacks. I think Deshaun gets the edge here. Maybe this might be a push.
Yo, last time Tannehill played Jacksonville, he threw 4 TDs, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see anything changing. I didn't see Jacksonville get any better, right? So,
Tyreek Hill
doesn't get 4, he gets 3. I think he performs well either way. Deshaun's going against Chicago, which I don't know, man. And Chicago's still got a good, linebacker core. Good, I don't know if Akeem Hicks is playing, right?
No, and that's big, and that's still a big loss for them, especially in the run game. But I think if you look at the last 5 weeks and the numbers that the Chicago Bears have allowed against wide receivers, they would surprise you.
Yeah. So, and he's down a receiver.
He's down like all of the receivers.
So, yeah, exactly. So
Brandon Cooks, I looked on an injury report. Brandon Cooks is. They said head, neck. Like, I was like, damn. It's like shit.
Oh,
what else?
Yeah. So, look, Watson is a great player, man.
I love him in fantasy, and I love him how he plays in real life.
Yeah, exactly. I just hate him on John's team. But Michael Thomas, what's his ceiling now? 12?
Yeah, I think Thomas ceiling and floor pretty much gonna live around the same place.
Is Taysom starting?
No. Well, I think that they thought that there was gonna be good news on Breeze. I'm not sure if it stayed true playoffs. Let's see what the up to date news on Drew is. He's progressing well, but he won't practice much. He's eligible to come off the IR. They could ramp him up on Thursday to see how he feels, but a more realistic target to play has been week 15, and that's according to Ian Rappaport on Twitter.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. This is interesting, right? Jefferson and Hill, right? Those are two interesting matchups for me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the dynamic that I always look at, right? You got Tyreek Hill at the end, right? And you got Gaskin for Miami versus KC. And these are two players that depend really on
different game scripts.
Exactly. And you playing them on your team. So if one's getting off, is the other getting off?
Well, the hope
doesn't
here
always work like that.
To your point, the hope here is that Miami takes the lead and Tyreek Hill has to catch up.
Is that realistic?
But that's not a realistic game script. The only thing I would say about
it's a possibility, but is it realistic? So that kind of is. I'm saying it. I'm looking at that in a different lens right now.
Like, is there a conflict of interest there? Is there like a conflict of interest there? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, and it might work in John's favor, right? And again, John has Sanders, the kicker. So, I mean, these kind of matchup dynamics, we all know factor in. Like, sometimes if you got the quarterback, they've got the kicker, or he's got the quarterback, you got the tight end and receiver, or whatever it may be. Those dynamics play a role in all of this. So, look, Kelsey, God bless you. He's playing against Miami. So it looks like they both have two players in that game, which again adds another sort of balancing act to it. So when you really start to kind of compartmentalize it and try to analyze it, it can get very deep. But if I was to look at both of these teams and say what's the differentiator or who's going to make or break this game, my man doesn't have his tight end or his flex in yet. And maybe he's going to pick somebody up.
Well, we got Gurley there. We got Sammy Watkins there. Hunter Henry's a tight end option. Gronk. So he got solid tight end options.
Yeah, no, he's got solid options.
Ahmed is no longer, obviously, Gaskin came back, so he's of no use unless Gaskin gets hurt. Phillip Lindsay is what he is. I don't think we're going to get the usage that we got a few years ago. I think that in fantasy, we hope that he regains that, but I don't think he's ever going to be that again. Man,
I look at a player like Calvin Ridley going against that Chargers secondary, and the type of game that I would anticipate it being at San Diego or at Los Angeles. At Los Angeles, I think he could be a sort of a make or break for John's team, right? And I think for me, I'm going to squash all the Tyreek Hill, Jefferson, Gaskin talk, and it's what Tannehill does here for Apex to me.
You think he's the key? You think he's the key for that team?
I think Tannehill could throw a 40 here, or he could fail to throw up 40, right? Because look, John's team is going to throw up some points to me.
They always do. He always.
Yes, and Apex got some question marks. Yeah, we know Tariq could throw a 40, right? But it's playing Miami, and that secondary ain't bad, you know.
Xavier Howard has been scary, man.
Yeah, and is it going to be Jonathan Taylor week or Naeem Hines week? I don't know. Let's see. Las Vegas got some defenders coming back, this week, so it may be a different defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm looking at both teams.
So hold on, at Las Vegas, who plays tougher at home also.
Yes. So if I'm looking at both teams, I'm saying to myself, the differentiators for me are Ryan Tannehill could make or break that team, and I think Calvin Ridley this week makes or breaks this team, because again, I have an expectation for Thomas, right? To me, his ceiling is 12 with Taysom, right? Deshaun Watson against Chicago being down a bunch of receivers, maybe his projection is fairly right? And to me, that's a ceiling, in my opinion, this week.
Yeah.
And Gio, what are we really expecting from Gio? Probably the projection. Kelsey against Miami, lucky if he gets the projection, but he most likely will get that, right? And then Thielen against Tampa Bay, yeah. So that's how I look at it, man.
I agree. I think if you look at Michael Thomas, and then you start looking at a dome team going to play at Philly, and we're talking about December weather now, right? So what's that weather going to be like? Because New Orleans typically struggles when they go out into those elements.
With Breeze, though.
With Breeze, exactly. So the difference could be that Taysom, maybe there's less targets to have because he's maybe going to take off, right? So something to watch, because Philadelphia has a really good defensive line. So that's something to keep an eye on. Yes, to your point, I think I agree with you on Michael Thomas's ceiling. Strictly because although Slay has struggled against number one receivers, I think he's been getting abused the last few weeks. It's still Darius Slay, right? So watch that defensive line pressure, see how Taysom Hill handles that pressure, because he has made some questionable decisions when he has had pressure.
Yeah, the thing is Philly. Jalen Hurts is on the other side, so you don't even know how much offense you're going to get out of them. Exactly, and how are they going to come out and perform, right? Are they going to perform well because they got a chip on their shoulder and they're really going to wake up this week, or are they going to be the regular Philly? So I think to me, again, that's why I said 12 is safe, right?
I like 12.
Yeah. He could go either which way, but I'm going to say 12 is safe. But I think Ridley could do damage against the Chargers secondary, or he could fail to perform. But I think if he does damage, John can pull this game off. But if Tannehill does damage against Jacksonville, I think that kind of sways it towards Apex. Those are the two sort of for me.
I'll give you mine. And I think on John's, it starts and ends with Zeke to me. I think if you look on the paper, we got two running backs on John's team, right? And that they're both kind of like on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of talent, right? Like Gio's dope, but he's not on Zeke's level, right? And you're going up at Cincinnati, so you got Andy Dalton going back to Cincinnati. So this could be one of those, Dallas, revenge game for Andy. Let's get him a few touchdowns and maybe Zeke comes out. This could easily be like a Zeke 2-touchdown game. But the concern is that Andy goes and bombs in Cincinnati, and this could go in the reverse direction for Zeke.
But if Andy goes and bombs in Cincinnati, are you confident in that Cincinnati offense to put them in such a hole where
against that Dallas defense?
Yeah, where they're just running the ball? I don't know.
Well, against that Dallas defense, yeah. Because who did Cincinnati play last week? Cincinnati played
Indy, wasn't it?
They played Miami last week.
Miami, sorry.
I mean, they held their own. It was 7-19, but they held their own against a very good Giants team, put up 17 points. The Seahawks couldn't even score a touchdown against the Giants.
Yeah.
So I think we have to be careful of saying that automatically that the Bengals are just going to get blown out by Dallas when this isn't even the Dallas team that we've seen in the past years.
No, this Dallas team is...
That defense is porous, bro.
It is kind of...
It's porous.
It's bad. And I wonder why it's bad sometimes. But again, it's a revenge game for Andy, right? He comes back. He comes back to Cincinnati. He's playing in Cincinnati. Clearly, he's probably going to want to prove a point, right?
Right.
And like you mentioned, let's say he does well, right? He does well. They're going to run the ball, but will they do well, right? And will they be in that position? So it's still. I don't know if we can count on, and like to your point, I don't know if we could count on Andy, or if we can count on Cincinnati to not allow that to happen. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm iffy about it.
One thing I will say, Andy looked pretty comfortable in Baltimore.
But let me say this: you got Elliott and Bernard, so you need the game script to go an exact certain way for you to be successful.
Yeah.
Right? That's all I'm saying. So to me, that's a wash to me. Like, you know, it could go either way, right? But when I look at both teams again, for me it's Tannehill or Ridley. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. To me, it's Zeke and Zeke and Taylor. When you make a deal for Taylor and you look at the end of the schedule at the end, you see all that green, you're like, man, this guy, right? He could be a league winner if he's the guy. The big problem is that Frank Reich comes from like a Peterson system where they're into the platoon. Yo, I'm gonna pour a drink because that one's gonna get interesting.
Which one?
I mean, you entered a different dynamic into that, right? You said when you trade for a player, you need to be evaluating or at least aware of what their schedule is at the end of the season.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think was that a factor in the trade at all?
Yeah,
right?
Because I think if you look at Joe Mixon's schedule, it's equally as juicy. So I think John was banking on, let me get him for week 15 and 16. And I think Ricky was banking on, this is a stud. He's with the best offensive line in the league, arguably one of the best. And look at his end of the season schedule. It's arguably, comparable to Mixon. It's probably better than Mixon's. But you have to factor that into account, not only when you're trading somebody away, but when you're bringing someone on.
Yeah. So, again, I think a few folks are coming back on that Raiders defense.
Yeah.
I think I like Taylor, don't get me wrong, but I think it's tricky how they sort of use that backfield
week to
week. And it's like, logically, play Taylor. But realistically, it's unpredictable, right? For more so than I would like it to be, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
The matchup, it's favorable. I agree. But what does, like you say, Frank Reich do, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's first down. First down is Taylor, second down is Wilkins, and third down is Hines. Yeah, so, in my opinion, Ricky, start Hines and Taylor. You're welcome.
How consistent has your boy Travis Kelce been, though?
Kelce is last year I had him in another league and I drafted him in the second round, I think it was, and he ended up with 1,000 yards and it didn't feel that way. So this year I overcorrected and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay away from him. Second round I drafted a quarterback that I only drafted once in the mocks, and most of the times I was drafting either a Kelce or most of the times it was Kelce towards the end, and I didn't stick to it, man. And he shows you why he's so important to that team.
Yo, let me ask you a question. It's playoffs, regular season's over. It is what it is. There's no more trade deadline. Who's a player that you tried very hard to get or wanted to get on your team that you weren't able to get via trade?
Whether or not he worked out for
whatever it was, but you wanted to get him on your team and you were never just successful. There
were two people and they both happened to be Buffalo Bills. From the beginning I tried to get Stephon Diggs.
Okay.
I wanted Stephon Diggs. Just like when I got, DeAndre Hopkins, those are the only two guys that I really wanted. Like, I really wanted those two guys. And then who else? The other guy, Stephon Diggs and Singletary was another person that I wanted as a piece on my bench. He didn't pan out. He's decent, but he's not like what I thought he was going to be.
Who has Singletary?
Let's go.
Oh, let's go. Yeah.
Mr. No Trade unless I'm out of it. and John wants something.
Mr. No available.
Yeah, no, unless it's John and you know.
I'm not going there.
So what else we got here, man? I mean, this is one of those games where, you know, Apex, I think, has been an underdog pretty much for most of the year, right?
Yo, man, shout out to Ricky, man.
Yeah, because from when he started to how he ended it, this dude he rolled up his sleeves and he put in some work.
Yo, I think again, Ricky is sneaky good, right? In my opinion, because he does some unconventional sort of things that pan out to be good, but when you sort of, in retrospect, when you look at it, you're like, damn, it made a lot of sense when you were doing it.
And it's to your point. It's because it's unconventional according to who?
Yeah, but that son of a bitch, Ricky, sends the dirtiest trades around behind John.
Yo.
It's John with the dirty trades, and then it's Ricky with the dirty ass trades. He'll send me like, anyway, I'm not gonna go there. But
wait, we have that NDA.
Nah, I'm not gonna go there. But I'm gonna say this: that Ricky, he sends some bullshit.
Yo.
And then he's got the nerve to criticize you like, how dare you disrespect me by not taking this?
Yo,
I'm doing you a favor, bitch. Not doing me no favor with that trash ass offer.
You get out of here with that bullshit.
He mad at you for not accepting the shit that he's sitting you like.
Yo, and then the funny thing is that, Ricky is the king of the vetoes. If that veto button existed, bro, there would be no trades that I go through.
Nah, facts. But look, I had Gaskin, I think. No, I had Ahmed. I picked up Ahmed. And
I remember you, but you dropped him like right away.
Yeah, I dropped him because I needed something else on my bench, and then he picked him up. But he dropped Fant early in the season, and I picked him up. So
to his defense, he wanted a piece on my team, and he sent me 2 pieces that at the time I was like, "Wow, are you kidding me? You're insulting me." And looking at those pieces now, I'd have been like, "Wow, I could have used those.
But that's hindsight, right? Like I'm gonna tell you a player that I tried to get very hard. 2 players. I tried to get Chris Carson very hard early.
I think all of us did.
And God bless that I didn't get that son of a bitch. But I also tried to get Kelsey every chance that an opportunity became available.
I wasn't giving him up, bro.
And he wouldn't give it up. And I don't blame him though. That's why I don't blame the Savages. I blame the Savage, right? Because like JC, a manager like JC knows better than to give up Kelsey, for probably anybody. Like I wasn't offering him trash, but he wasn't giving up Kelsey because he knows the value of Kelsey.
It's
right?
I mean, you're solidifying a position that is so volatile that week to week you have no idea.
But you're gonna have people trying you for your best players every season, every week. So it's up to you to kind of, move that on. Like, no, I'm not interested. But who you got in this matchup, man? Apex or Legend?
Oh man, dude, I think that did they play this year? I feel like we did their match. Yeah, I think they did, bro. Let me see. Hold on. Let me go back to I feel like they played not too long ago.
Really?
Hold on, John and damn. Every time I see JC, I think it's him, but it's JC is trash as you.
Yo, JC is trash. We got all colors, short sleeve, long sleeve, sweater, hats.
Yeah. Make sure you use the discount code, the fantasy standard 15. Share it with your friends. Let me see. Damn it. So they played a while ago. It looks like they were different teams when they played. It looked like. Hold on. Legend Killer. Almost there. Oh, damn, yo. They must have played like. When did y'all play? No, that's you. Man, you keep throwing me off. When did they play?
I don't know if they played. Did they?
I mean, you're supposed to play everybody they played week 1. 116 to 104.
Who took it? Apex.
Nah, John took it. 116 to 104. Wow. So he had 24 from Ridley, 24 from Zeke. You're not getting 24 from Zeke this week, bro.
Yo, but how sweet would it be? John kicked all that shit about Taylor early in
And
the year.
Taylor,
Heavy.
dude, look,
Heavy. No, every time heavy.
that's part of the shit that fantasy. Those are the scripts that fantasy write.
Yeah, right. What I'm gonna say is that we're aware of it. And fantasy writes it, but I don't know if everybody always pays attention to it.
Oh wait, hold on. They played in week 12. I knew I saw this, bro. Ricky blew him the hell out, 159 to 114, bro.
Okay, so that's that matchup. That's the one I was posting very recklessly. He got blown out. Biggest blowout of the week, probably, right?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, Ricky's team has that potential.
But Will Fuller's no longer on his team.
Yep. So, and that was a big component. That was 30 points, right?
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Day or so.
Yep.
And again, do I think T. Hill is doing that against Miami? 30? No. Do I think Jefferson's getting 30 at Tampa Bay? No. Gaskin against KC? No. Taylor against LV? No. So the biggest boom for Apex is Tannehill to me. He can get you 40 against Jacksonville, right? Or he can get you 20, but he's the only opportunity that I see that can get you 40. I don't know what your thoughts are. That's why I looked at it like that. And same for John. When I looked at this team, it's like, yo, Ridley could probably get you 25 as a receiver here, and that would be big for you if you could get that. And like you said, maybe Zeke gets in there, but I don't see Kelsey getting a big number against Miami. Bernard against Dallas.
Miami 5th fewest points to a tight end allowed all year, so.
Thielen against Tampa Bay, I don't know, because it could be a Jefferson week, it could be a Thielen week. I don't know how that Tampa Bay defense is going to play week to week. Sometimes they're really good in the secondary, sometimes they're not. So it depends what's going on. But yeah, that's why I say those are the two big ones for me, man. But look, again, two very experienced fantasy managers, man. Two dudes that, look, I talk shit a lot to John, and sometimes I talk shit just because I know he's the only one that's going to talk shit back.
You poke the bear,
right? Yeah, nah, you don't got to poke that bear. You just got to blow breeze towards it, and and it's like, what? You know
what you say about me?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? He's easily provoked, and I love to do it, and even though he doesn't really know how to talk trash really well, he tries his best, but
he does, and I don't think there's a bone in his body that gets offended. That's the good thing about John.
No, absolutely, and I think Mike used to be like that, but Mike got a little sensitive and shit.
We all get sensitive. We don't like losing, bro.
Yeah, but no, but I think again, two experienced teams. I love this matchup because these guys make really good moves, right, week to week, and anything can happen any given week, and they talk shit to each other, and I'm looking forward to seeing who wins, man.
Yeah, and in this game, to answer your question that I never answered, I'm gonna pick Ricky to repeat his performance. I'm not gonna say on the 150 level, but I think he's gonna pull off another one of those. Damn, he put up that many. I think he's gonna do it again.
Who's rookie of the year?
In NFL, Jefferson's got to be it, right?
You think Jefferson's
got to be it. Did you know he has more 100-yard games than Randy Moss did his rookie year?
Damn, Danny.
5-4. So if Randy Moss won rookie of the year for what he did, I think Jefferson's not scoring touchdowns at the same clip, but still, that's something, man. On a run first team. That's something. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Shooter here, but I got a feeling that he's gonna pull another one off, man. He's gonna do another one of these, how the hell did Ricky put up 130 type things? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only way I think JC gets through is if Zeke and Bernard give you some surprising numbers.
Exactly, and that was why I picked those two players.
Yeah,
because to me it boils down to that, and it's ironic that it's the same game. One thing about Tyreek Hill that normally defenses that are stout against wide receivers, they're stout against traditional number one wide receivers. Tyreek Hill is not your traditional number one wide receiver. There's not many people in the league that can run with him one-on-one. So there's still that threat. So there will still be that cushion. So I don't think Tyreek Hill is gonna struggle as much as other receivers have against Miami.
Yeah. I mean,
right? Like if he was facing Jalen Ramsey, that's different. You got a size advantage, right? Like, so you got a Jalen Ramsey that can be physical against Tyreek Hill. But if you're facing Xavier Howard, who's essentially the same height, right? Like same physicality, you know, you got to run step by step. I'm going to give it to Tyreek.
A lot of players in that game, big game. I'm going to tell you, Flores, right? He comes from the Belichick.
He's a beast, bro.
Right? System. And what do you do in the Belichick system? You stop your best player, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing, but the thing is, you stop Hill, Kelsey's gonna get off, right? You stop Kelsey, Hill's gonna get off. So
yeah. So
and the Miami defense is playing well, man. I think better than most people.
No, they're playing amazing. I'm totally on board. I'm a big Flores.
That's a big game for these guys.
Yeah, I'm a big Flores supporter. I think he's the best head coach to ever come out of the Belichick coaching tree.
Yeah.
Ever. And it is not even close. But going back to Belichick when he played Tyreek Hill, week 4, Tyreek Hill had 12 points, 6 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Kelsey had one of his lowest games of the year with 7 points, the 3 being the lowest against Denver. But 7 points is not insignificant because by other tight end standards, but 7 points for Kelsey is holding him at bay.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be interesting. That's a big game. That's a big game.
Yeah. So this is a matchup that there's matchups in here that they're capable at capping their players that you think could boom. Like a Tyreek Hill against Miami, for instance. Like if it's Tyreek Hill against Las Vegas, you feel good, right? Because Las Vegas has a weak second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Against Miami, you got to be like, if you get 12, 15 points from Tyreek Hill, you're ecstatic.
So this, I'm sorry to go back to, but it's a possibility thing, right? Like this is one of those games you don't expect high scores, right?
Probably not.
I'm not expecting high scores. So it could go to anybody, right? This is more of a chance game. Like, all right, do you get to the 1 yard line? Your running back runs it in. Do you get some awkward kind of touchdown that nobody's expecting, kind of thing?
Yeah, pass interference at the fucking goal line, and then
exactly. Is Tua starting? Tua's starting, right?
Who?
Tua.
Well, so far, yeah. It's game time decision they got him at right now.
And he's kind of funky when he's in there to me, like for a high scoring kind of event. And it's really going to come down to, can that Miami defense hold that Kansas City offense, to a respectable number? Because then Miami can keep up. But if not,
let me tell you something. Look,
Miami D to me.
Let me show you something about Miami too. Miami tends to play to their opponent, right? Like, look at the Chargers. Miami beat the Chargers 29-21, right? Look at Arizona. Miami beat Arizona 31-34, right? So, if you look at that, you're like, oh, I didn't know that they put up 34 against Arizona. That's not that bad, right? So, I'm not gonna underrate them. Who was the quarterback? When did Tua take over? Did he take over around week 9?
Yeah, it was late in the season. No, it may have been earlier than that. No?
Was it like week? Okay, because putting up 34 against Arizona, 29 against the Chargers, that's not bad. So against Kansas City, that means that it's possible.
But that Arizona defense lately, man. Yeah. 34 points, 30 points, 28 points, 20 points, 28 points. And then points.
Yeah, and then to your point, where is Miami trending the last 3 games? They lost. They scored 13 points against Denver. They won. They scored 20 points against the Jets, who they have to score 20 again. And then against Cincy.
Yeah. So Tua, they're different from an offensive standpoint. That's why I say if the defense can hold City at bay, I think it's going to be a different kind of game, but I think it's going to be a big game for this matchup. And I think, again, for me, what can sort of help ease some of that issue for Ricky is if Tannehill goes off on Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And what can ease some of that for Legend Killer is if Ridley can go off on a susceptible Chargers secondary. So that's why I look at it like.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a great playoff weekend. I think these two matchups are probably the most anticipated. I don't think I've ever been this engaged in someone else's playoffs. Maybe part of it is because of the show. I'm like kind of committed. I've signed a contract. But I'm anxious and I'm eagerly awaiting tomorrow because, this is coming out on Thursday. So eagerly awaiting tonight to see what's going to happen, right? Like, who's going to shoot the first shot? Normally on Thursdays, historically on Thursday, when I've done well on Thursday, my team has done terrible on Sundays.
Yeah.
This is just me personally. This is
those are the worst games, worst weeks, right?
Yeah, yo, I hate those, man. One thing to note that I'm noticing here on this matchup is I don't see a Thursday player on any of these teams.
Oh, I got a Thursday player. Oh, you mean Ricky and Legend Killer?
Exactly. But for you, let's see, you and Ryan.
I had Woods that I got to decide on for tomorrow.
I got Woods that I got to decide on.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm still contemplating, right? I mean, there's a lot.
There's a lot to think about.
There's a lot of variables I got to consider, Ryan. But it doesn't look like Jacobs is going to play. I got to worry about Booker's performance. I got a lot of things to
You got a lot. Yeah, I think the good thing is that, you got time, right? Like you got time to play your process out. This, obviously you lose, you go home. But, I think personally the pressure would be more on Orion because of because he's favored, right? Like he has more points. Like his team on paper looks more dominant. I think there's more pressure on him to win this game as opposed to you.
No, thank you for bringing that up because that's what I wanted to bring up, right? I'm the underdog. I just got in here, like sneaked in here. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not one of these elite managers yet. Historically, from a performance standpoint, when you look at my record and everything, right? Improving, right? But Ryan's been to the chip 3 times, right? He's been to the playoffs every year. He's supposed to win there. He's the favorite. And he's got a solid ass team. I'm not going to take that away from him, right? I give him that utmost respect. But at the end of the day, anything can happen any given Sunday. And I'm here this Sunday with my team, and let's see what happens, right? So I am the underdog, and the pressure is on him. And I got nothing to lose, so that's why I'm going to do some creative things with my lineup. I'm not saying I'm going off the wall or anything. I'm going to be a little bit maybe risque. Yeah. And we'll see how it pans out. But I'm excited, man.
I'm excited for you. It's going to be an amazing playoff weekend. Real quick, I wanted to shout out the consolation bracket, guys. I have a bye week along with Keith. That's important stuff. So we have UAA against Struggle Bus and Suicide Squad against Let's Go. I guarantee these guys aren't even going to check their lineups this week.
Nah, man, but still, man.
But remember, if you finish in 12th place in the consolation bracket, you finish in 12th in the league.
Oh, is that how it works?
That's how it works. Because I had that happen to me once. I lost the consolation bracket. I think I was like 8th, and I ended up 12th.
Yo, man. I just want to say shout out to you and Keith for the bye week in the consolation bracket. Yo, man, respect, man. Y'all did it, man. The little table, at least y'all, the big kids at the little table, and I respect that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Keith is just Keith, man. He's he's been Peyton isn't here to save him anymore. That's what it boils down to.
Peyton isn't, or I think he's had. We talked.
It was Peyton for years. With respect to this league, it was Peyton saved him for years, man.
Peyton, I think. Look, he thought Dak was going to do that for him this year. It was Lamar last year. He had Lamar and McCaffrey last year. Think about that.
Yo.
Did he? Was it him that had? Yeah, because he had Deshaun. He had Lamar and CMC last year.
Yo, and when you look at the players that he's had from an achievement standpoint, he's failed, right? He's failed because he hasn't won it yet. And Keith is a really good player. That's why I say that. With the teams you've had, you haven't really met expectations, right?
Yeah.
That's key to me, right? But like every year I'm scared of Keith, right? Like I know he's coming to draft.
Look,
he's gonna play well, he's gonna compete.
There's constants about Keith. One is that he's gonna draft a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
And then two, he's gonna draft a rookie running back that's gonna boom. He did it with David Johnson his rookie year. He did it with Chubb his rookie year. Gibson his rookie year. Last year he had a rookie that panned out. Like every single year he can pick a rookie running back that's gonna blow up, and it helps him because it's less draft capital on someone. Right? So shout out to and GG's. I forgot to say that to you, Keith, man. GG, see you on that matchup. This is where the big boys play, man. The little table is where the big moves happen, bro. So don't disrespect this team over here, okay?
Yo, you got HHM on a bye, and HHM has been talking mega shit, right? Like,
he's on a bye, yeah, exactly.
And you got Alex on the bye, who's been a little bit more subdued,
Right. 2 straight losses going into this bye.
Yeah, so he's probably questioning, like, maybe, I come out my, sort of hibernation and talk shit for the playoffs, but I can't even do that because my team's not performing. Whatever. Mike's like heavy on it. Yeah,
Mike ain't gonna stop, bro. Mike ain't gonna stop.
Yeah, but you know what? Again, Mike comes to play, Savage at his best, has a good team. Has a lot of options, right? And I'm sure you guys will talk about this next week when it gets, to a point where they're, actually in a matchup. But nobody likes Mike to win. Or I should say nobody wants Mike to win.
No, that's what it is. I think
for a number of reasons. And, he plays that sort of antagonist role very well.
The standard is the standard.
Yeah, this motherfucker is Grendel for sure. You know what I'm saying? He's met Beowulf a few times, but hopefully this year. I don't want Mike to win it. Look, I'm gonna tell you this, right? In the past, Mike has won it. There wasn't the experience that there is now.
No.
Like, look, he won early on. I'm gonna be honest, when me and Alex were just starting, right? Like, me and Alex were trading waiver wire pickups.
Yeah.
I think we did something like, yo, what's up? Meanwhile, Mike was picking up like handcuffs, you know what I'm saying? He had like info. He's like, way before we were even like seeing it on ESPN or whatever.
He was streaming defenses, I think.
Exactly. He was doing all kinds of sophisticated fantasy strategy that me and Alex were like, yeah, this play looks good. Yeah, over a 12-pack. And Mike won championship. So, and not to take anything away from him because he's proven himself even years after that. It's just that, to me, I don't want him to win. Right? He's got 3. I'd rather see somebody else win. Like I said, I think Mike's a strong manager, right? He's got one of those teams. He's got a lot of options. You got to make the right decisions, right? Because he hasn't always made the right decision, whether it be Antonio Brown or, Kamara hasn't showed up every week. Like you mentioned, it's really been that Aaron Rodgers, Devontae stack that's kept him hitting the numbers on a weekly basis for the most part, or hitting good numbers. And is that going to continue? To be seen. Alex has a great team. He's got some very dependable players. That top 4, Kyler Murray, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, Dalvin Cook is sturdy. But he's got some good bench pieces that Damian Harris, T. Higgins, etc., that can play a pivotal role. And Waiku is a great kicker to have.
Young Wei. I saw a video. If anybody has Twitter, Look up Young Wei Koo. Yo, he did this thing where he like kicked up the ball with his feet. Like that shit landed. Then he proceeded to like do some crazy shit and like basically push it with his foot for like 20 fucking yards for a field goal. Like this dude he's one of these kickers that like he works on his craft.
Yo, his fantasy numbers have been incredible, man.
Double digits every week.
I don't know who had him early in the year that dropped him, but Alex again has been very good on the waiver, and it's panned out, right? It's panned out for him. So
and again, I'm stuck with a kicker like Tucker because I drafted him in the 9th, right? And his projections look great every week, but meanwhile you have a Blankenship or you have a Sanders or you have him outscoring Tucker every week.
And I think that's one of those positions that, look, Tucker was automatic before for whatever reason, and we could probably dive into that, but there's probably different reasons, but he was automatic. And now, and again, kicker is one of those positions I think that it's very, or more so, matchup dependent.
Yeah, right? Yeah. There's a story to stuff like with kickers, man. There's a lot. Like the Ravens are a methodical, slow offense. So less opportunities to score, right? Like, so you think about, I want my team that's going to have as many opportunities to score as possible, that goes down the field, that they're in the red zone a lot. They have a good defense, right? Like they're going to be favored, but Baltimore is going to be favored, but they're so methodical and they're so slow that, they can be stopped. And, it's just, it didn't work out this year. Like you said, there's probably other factors, but it just goes to show you that sometimes it's not a good idea to like try to get like the best kicker out there a little bit earlier in the draft, and just maybe play the streaming game. I think it's possible, and there is like you said, there are factors that you can look at, or maybe even factors that you can come up with yourself that'll help you with that. But I think there's value in maybe plucking a Blankenship off the wire, or plucking a coup off the free agency and plugging them in, and they're every week, because it's up to date. When you draft a kicker, you're hoping based on last year that he's going to repeat what he did last year.
Let me ask you something. Who are you taking it for the chip?
I was just thinking that. I was like, okay, who's my wild card here? My wild card team is Ricky, because Ricky just has a team that, like a Tyreek Hill could boom and even things out, maybe some of the deficiencies on his team. You got those guys, those on paper guys like HHM, Dead Presidents, and Why So Serious, that on paper they scare the shit out of you, right? Yeah, like you look at them and you're like, holy shit. You have Mike, who probably has the sturdier one out of, like, if you look at Why So Serious and Mike, he'll probably have the most the most consistent boom, and it's like you said, is because Aaron Rodgers and Devontae have given him that. But if you give me the best team, the ideal team, I think I have to go with the number one team in the league so far, and that's been Dead Presidents. But who I got, dude, I could pick any one of y'all. I can justify a reason for picking every single one of y'all, and that's what I like about this year.
But you gotta have
But if I were to pick one, I would pick one of the no championship guys. I would love to see one of you guys to win a chip.
Who's in there? Me and Ryan.
Yeah, you guys are the only ones in there that don't have a chip, so it would be nice. It's unfortunate that both of you have to play each other this week, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, and I think that, it's nice. It'd be nice if one of the no chip guys will win it. Join the fraternity.
Yeah, I mean, it's some sturdy teams this year, man.
Yeah.
It's if it does happen that way, I mean, that's the epitome of fantasy, right?
Yeah.
The unexpected coming to fruition. So
absolutely.
But that's a tall mountain. The one good thing about being knocked out is that you don't got to stress over this shit for 3 more weeks.
Yeah, I can tell you this. I woke up a little disappointed, but it's a big weight lifted off your shoulders. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm I'm gonna appreciate this little mental break that I'm gonna get after I'm done with the pod.
Yeah, but for the folks that are in it, that mental sort of grueling, schedule continues for 3 more weeks, and for some of us 1 more week. But
you'll gladly do it, right? Like you're gladly like, oh hell yeah, I'd rather be here than with me, like sipping margaritas on a beach.
For the chip, you know what I'm saying? For the chip, man. I don't know what it feels like yet, but hopefully, fingers crossed, all that. But realistically, I shouldn't win this.
Okay.
Right? I shouldn't win this. On paper, I shouldn't win this.
Right.
Possibility is
I would put your team probably right behind Ricky's. I would put it at 6. Yeah, like if we were like on paper doing the thing, but
no, I'm in the right place. I'm 6th in all of this, but I'm happy to be there. And
the number 1 waiver, man, that's crucial.
We'll see if it pans out, and if I play him, and if that's the right move, and all that good stuff. But
no, I mean, hey, and that's our matchups. We got through them. I know it was a little bit different than what we've done before, Pooty. I appreciate you joining us. Is there anything you want to leave the league with? Any messages you want to share with anybody out there?
Yeah, no, man. I just want to say, at JC is trash. You know what I'm saying? I firmly believe that. He won a championship last year, but he still, to me, is average. You know what I'm saying? In terms of fantasy managers in this league, every dog has his day. He had a good draft, and
his year
throughout the year, and he won the championship. Blah blah blah. But I think he's still like subpar.
My God, it's brutal.
Yeah, no, that's honestly, I think.
Only bring facts here, right?
Yeah, I think Mike, with the usual bamboozlement, and every season he's found a way to savage his way to the playoffs, and with a bye week at that. And bad things are coming for you, Mike. So in the fantasy world, at least. And
you believe in karma?
Hell yeah, with a capital K. With a capital K.
But do you believe in fantasy gods?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I do.
I stopped believing them in this year, and I didn't make the playoffs. So I think.
Yeah, you see, and you are very superstitious with respect to that in the past, because you temper your shit talk because you believe it has an adverse effect on your team's performance, and I know that. But Alex, you've been a silent assassin. I know some shit panned out that you didn't expect. I saw you at the draft. I know your behavior. I know what happened. You got some good picks, but I don't think it was all strategic. You know what I'm saying? I think it was some of that was dumb luck. And look, at JC, he tried to kind of reconstruct what he had, and it's not the same, buddy. It's not the same. Apex Predator, you made some good moves. You've had some unfortunate sort of, things that happened to your team. Even when you were sort of, putting some Band-Aids on and patching things together, you face some more adversity, but you're a long shot, and I respect your sort of participation in the chat, and I respect your activity, and I think you deserve to be here because you're a good manager. Why so serious? Coming back where he left off. I was hoping he wouldn't make it, and son of a bitch still made it. So it just proves that he's a very good fantasy manager, and he does know what he's talking about. But I hope I beat him this week. And then there's me, the underdog that's not supposed to be here, snuck in, and we got some players that may do well, may not do well, and we'll just see how that goes. But anything's possible.
I think you have the team the prognosticators hate projecting.
Yeah, man.
Because you got a Fournette that shouldn't be projected that, and you got a Beasley they're probably underrating, right? So you got a lot going on there that it's not the on paper team, but these are the teams that yo, for one reason or another, these are the teams that somehow figure out a way to score a 95 and then the other team will underperform. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but I've seen it. We've seen it plenty of times, man. We've seen that on paper doesn't win anything, right?
Yo, when it comes to football, this is why I don't bet like on games and different things, aspects of the game, because to me, the game is rigged to a certain degree, right?
There's certain things that happen and you're like, really, that they covered just now with that stupid ass play, right? Like,
anyway, that's a different topic. But at the end of the day, anything is possible, right? And the unexpected should be expected.
100%. And
the unexpected.
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, anything is also possible.
Yeah, but yo, one last thing. I just want to say, Mike, I don't want you to win this year or any years again in the future.
You think he's got enough for the next 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, he's got so many asterisks around his championships, man, that it's like,
really?
How many more asterisks do you want to add, buddy? No, but I mean, son of a bitch is a savage. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like when he takes it to a different level, I think he took everybody's competitive level up a notch.
Yeah.
Here with his move, because you know, he looked at Ryan's trade as a challenge, and he took that shit to another level.
He went up there, didn't he?
Yeah, and I was like, damn, we going there?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we doing. And I'm not even mad. I'm just like, I didn't know, like the playing field changed when that happened. It was like, oh, we're playing at that level. Yeah. This is savagery. This is, you know, no rules, you know.
He went and built the Monstars.
Yeah, he's like, you want to win? You better, you know, up your game. So that's why I don't want him to win. God damn it. So if I don't win it, you know, I hope really nobody wins it. But again, I hope Ryan. If Ryan beats me, I take Ryan, and if Ryan doesn't win it, I take Ricky.
Okay, yeah, I think I would go kind of
because at JC, I still think you trash. I don't want you to win either.
Oh.
And Alex,
I just think because he's bullied us.
You've dominated the whole season, but I think that's pure dumb luck. You were like John last year. You drafted a good team and you rode that shit to the end. Yeah, you made a few waiver pickups, but that top four has sort of carried you throughout the season.
I also think,
and you son of a bitch, I don't want you to win another one.
I think the common denominator with the teams that win it is that they're able to, number one, stay relatively healthy throughout the year, and then number two, they're able to have those matchups where if you look at the points against, it's like, you know, relative to the next.
Yeah. Alex especially, that shit was super low.
Yeah. So, you know, but still, look at his points for. It's not luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So there's a combination of things there, like that falls into place. You happen to play the play, you know. So, but it's dumb luck, like you say. Next year it could be completely different. There could be someone else who's dominating the entire year that we don't expect. So
yeah, it's
been fun nonetheless. I am eliminated, so therefore my playoff beard is gone. I've had it for a few years. I decided to clean slate it. I don't deserve it. These is playoff beards. I don't deserve to have one. I've decided to actually abstain until I make the playoffs too. It's like, nah, I'll never do that. Anyway, on that note, Pooty, thank you so much for joining us. As always, man, I think that you are a gentleman, a scholar. You know, I have nothing but love and respect for you, man. Thank you for being, you know, sometimes you're a voice of reason and maybe it's a little harsh, but we do appreciate you being that person that, like, I know for a fact, yo, this dude's giving me the brutal and honest truth, even if I don't want to hear it.
No, facts, man. Appreciate you having me again. I think you guys have been doing a great job with the pod. It's fantastic that our fantasy league has its own podcast, and I think that as we continue to develop and grow this league into something that's even more competitive and even more worthy of our time, that, you know, this podcast just takes it up to another level. And I think that we should continue to support the podcast and kind of promote this, because I think people would love to see it, right?
Yeah.
And however we can sort of integrate it and develop it, in the future, I think
Mhm.
people would love to see, because how many people play fantasy, bro? Millions
Everybody.
and millions and millions and millions and millions of people, and they're having the same discussions, they have the same questions, but to see it, sort of
Like a test.
live
Yeah.
as it's happening, and people's decisions, and what's happening, and I think it adds to, again, the Lights Out Fantasy Football League as a whole. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for starting that, because you started it and continuing it, and hopefully it continues in the future.
Yeah, I mean, we're here. We have the Talk Down TV a network. So when we were discussing with Ryan, we were working actually on a gaming channel, and we recorded, I think, 5 or 6 episodes of like this gaming network channel that we were going to come out with. And we decided, like, fantasy's coming. I know I had to start prepping for fantasy draft. I know he did too. So we were like, look, why not just add this as an element to the league? This is not only going to help refine our skills as hosts and as like a network, but also this is something that the league can like claim as their own. And we have something that we have an account. We have like an actual recording and account of what's going on in our league. And like you said, there's relatable stories all over the place. Well, shit, you lost because of this person? Yo, look, I lost too. Go check out the episode. We talked about it, right? Like, so it's bringing the people. It's like life is a spectator sport. Everyone's obsessed with watching other people do something, whether it's unboxing things on YouTube or watching there's reaction videos. There's people on YouTube that millions of people watch, and all they do is react to something they're watching. So
Man, I think it's again, we're documenting, a memory.
yeah, I mean, 10 years from now, where are we going to be? Are we I hope that we're still friends, right? Like, and I hope I'm still watching football, and I hope that next 10 years we're going to be talking about this, right? Like, and who knows where we'll be? Maybe it'll be my son like taking over like my team, you know what I mean? Like,
Yo, at JC's probably watched his podcast episode like over and 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 over.
and then that's another thing, like, you can share this, like, if you have a significant other, yo, check us out. I had an interview, like, on my show. And even though my girl like could care less about fantasy, right? Like she hates that, but she thinks it's cool that we're doing this too. I think it's important that like you said, we document, we have an account, and hopefully that I'll have the league to help me or help us refine it, because I know Ryan and I have a lot of good plans for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It adds a different element, a welcomed element.
Yeah. My boy Pooty, thank you. Artist formerly known as Kenny. This has been amazing. I think the people are going to enjoy what we talked about. I think they're going to enjoy the shirt that you mentioned. Again, merchandise is available. Hit us up at thefantasystandardtfs@gmail.com if you wish to talk to Pooty or anyone else in the league for that matter. If you want to talk to the commission, you can also reach out to us. My social media handle is right under me. I signed an NDA to not disclose that for Pooty, so his lawyers have already called me a few times to make sure that I don't do that, and I respect lawyers. So on that note, Pooty, anything else to add?
No, bad luck to Mike, Alex, Ryan, Casey, Cadena. Hope you all bite the dust.
And the whole consolation bracket.
And don't let me win the championship, because it's going to be a serious problem. All you're going to delete the app, delete my number from your phones, etc. Don't let me win the championship. I'm letting y'all know that right now. It's the worst thing that can happen to this league is if I win the championship. I guarantee it.
Secretly.
And JC, I took it easy on you with this podcast on purpose, but
don't let me win it.
Because you're lucky.
Don't let me win it.
Yeah, don't let me win it either. It's just gonna be, oh man. Anyway.
I thought that if Keith won it, we would, I would have to delete the app and burn my phone. But I think that you secretly are probably one person. Although I'm rooting for like the no championship guys, it's gonna be scary.
It's built up. It's built up for 10 years. It's built up. So you can imagine the longer it builds up, the worse it's gonna get. But when it's built up, it's.
Just remember, I was nice to you on the pod.
No, it's not. No. Nobody's spared in the league.
Nobody's safe. You all
Nobody's
get it.
spared. Nobody's spared. We're gonna have to like really mute notifications. Like, yo, this son of a bitch, man. Yo, kick him out the league, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
All right. One last thing. Do you think we should name our championship trophy and our consolation bracket trophies? Do you think that we should consider that?
Man, I think we should get a fucking trophy.
I agree. I do agree. And I think that
we don't have a trophy to name 10 years and the commissioner hasn't sort of initiated an effort to get a goddamn trophy.
No, let's do it. Let's initiate. I think plus there's a lot on his plate. Come on. Let's all a lot on the plate. You know what it's like to be a commissioner. So let's all as a collective, let's pull some money. I'm sure we can put some money in and we can get a trophy. And every year it has to be shipped to the winner.
Yeah, but the other thing is you've got to have a consistent 12. I think right now we've got probably a consistent 10.
Yeah,
right.
We'll get the 12.
Yeah, we need to kind of really solidify those last two spots because, man, it really changes the dynamics of everything, right?
There's rumors that that we have a former manager that wants to rejoin the league.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Breaking news. This just in.
Yeah, we've actually gotten exclusive conversations with a former manager who is actively asking about how the league is going and also considering a comeback. Now, this manager is highly thought of, former championship contender.
Oh.
So I think you know who I'm talking about, and he fits in. You already know he fits in like a glove, bro. So we got people that are like that they're interested in. And now with the pod, they can probably scout you guys too. So I don't know if that's an unfair advantage either.
Yo, he was a very active player, good player, a respected player. So it's not a decision for me to make,
right?
But would definitely consider that. But again, there's a lot to be considered.
Yeah, there's so much. Yeah.
Good to hear that people are interested in coming back.
Oh, we have a list. And ever since, I think especially because of the pod, I think that now there's even more like curiosity as to how it would work out in this league.
And this is why we need to keep up in the ante, right? $200 next year.
I'm with it. No, dude, you're the treasury. You're the treasury. You're the secretary of treasury. So I think we all defer to you on what the price is going to be.
I think when you're in demand, keep up in the ante. This is only going to get more competitive,
agreed,
and more interesting and more desired. And I think why not make it a big money league?
Yeah, raise the stakes.
And if you got more invested, you're going to think once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times about the decisions you make, right? And you're even more invested, and you're, going to be doing your best to win every week and making the best moves you can, right? You can. So, I want it to be a big money league.
Hopefully by 2027, the pot is like at around $1,000 or something like that.
Yo, we drafting
the buy-in. Sorry, not the pot, the buy-in.
Hopefully in 5 years we flying out to Vegas to do our draft. You know what I'm saying, with some strippers.
Yo, I think hopefully we get through this COVID stuff. It'd be nice to have an offline draft, almost like we did at the farm last year, but like destination, like we figure out like a road trip and we go for like an hour and drive somewhere. Fucking do the draft like in the Catskills.
Yeah, but HHM is married now, so he on cooking duties and shit. So we gotta arrange that like way ahead. So. I don't know his permission slips get signed on time, or if he got to get them shits a week.
Yeah, I think a lot of us need permission slips, to be honest.
You know how that goes.
You heard it. Yo, my brother, I think the show is a lot better at having you on the roster as a guest. Thank you so much. Again, very instrumental in us continuing the show. Anyone watching here, again, remember to hit us up on the Fantasy Standard, TFS@gmail.com. One thing to note before we go, the music in the background is by Infamy, one of the most talented young producers out in the industry. Very big news for Infamy. Just please make sure you follow him. There's a lot coming down the road. Trust me, you're going to want to know who he is. Thank you, Infamy, for letting us use it. Thank you, Pooty, for joining us, and everyone for watching here. Make sure you join us next week for more coverage and a recap as to who won and another guest from the league next week. For Pooty, I'm P, and that's the Fantasy Standard.